The text on the sky screen changed once again. Furthermore, the hidden cloud village places special emphasis on cultivating Jinchuriki. The screen lit up. Opposite Killer Bee was the Eight Tails, Gyuki. Facing Gyuki, Killer Bee not only didn't lose control, but instead raised his fist and bumped fists with the Eight Tails. The scene shifted. Ni Yujito was engulfed in blue flames, instantly transforming into a massive blue Two Tails. Raza, a perfect Jinchuriki. Naruto, that old guy also has a monster inside him, but he can actually be friends with the monster? In the hidden sand village, Raza watched Killer Bee, who could perfectly fuse with his tailed beast, a flash of envy in his eyes. He had known before that the hidden cloud village had perfect Jinchuriki, which was why he was so harsh on Gaara, attempting to replicate that success. Unfortunately, that brat Gaara couldn't handle the pressure and even dared to lose control and kill people. Gaara was born evil. The text on the sky screen continued to output. In addition to focusing on the development of Jinchuriki, the Hidden Cloud Village also possesses 5 treasures left behind by the Six-Path Sage. Among them, the Amber Purifying Pot possesses the power to seal tailed beasts. The other treasures have different uses and functions, but they are all divine artifacts of the same level. On the screen, 5 uniquely shaped ninja tools were lined up in sequence. The Bashosen, the Crimson Gourd, the Golden Rope, the 7-Star Sword, and the Amber Purifying Pot. 10-10, the 6 Paths Sage's Treasures. 5 divine artifacts of the same level. Any one of these pulled out could sweep through a battlefield, right? Mei Terumi, to be able to directly seal even-tailed beasts, the Hidden Cloud Village has hidden its true strength too deeply. Hiruzen Sarutobi, 5 Six Paths Ninja Tools. In all the years since Konoha was founded, we have never possessed such divine artifacts. I fear the Hidden Cloud Village's strength may be superior to Konoha's. 4th Reikage. At this moment, I just wanted to curse. Having played the fool for so long, he had intended to ambush other villages in the next war, but he hadn't expected the sky screen to expose his bottom line. The sky screen image retracted, and new text appeared. The Hidden Cloud Village's succession system dictates that only the strongest person in the village holds absolute ruling status. They call the Kage boss, and everyone else is a subordinate. And the outstanding subordinates in the village are awarded tattoos. The benefit of this system is that if ninjas in the village want to earn respect, they will work hard to improve their raw strength and get ink to prove themselves. Under these circumstances, they are extremely loyal and will not easily betray one another. On the screen, in the Reikage's office, a group of burly Hidden Cloud ninjas knelt on one knee, shouting in unison, "Boss!" From top to bottom, the entire village had no backstabbing, no complex political scheming, only pure worship of strength and brotherly loyalty. Deidara, what kind of ninja village is this? This is clearly a gang. The boss takes the lead in recruiting underlings, and they even do the whole tattoo thing? Anoki, a bunch of brainless brutes, but this kind of pure superior subordinate relationship can indeed prevent internal friction. Tobarama, Konoha's system is for long-term stability. With the Hidden Cloud's gang-like style, once the Reikage lacks strength, it will inevitably fall apart. 4th Reikage. Tobarama, stop being so sour. The Reikage of our Hidden Cloud have been the strongest for generations. We would never have a spineless Hokage like yours in Konoha. In Konoha Village, at the Hokage building. Hiruzen Sarutobi's face twitched at being stung by this remark. However, he did not retort on the bullet screen. Konoha's internal friction had already been completely exposed by the sky screen. Furthermore, everything currently being broadcast about the Hidden Cloud on the sky screen was positive. Arguing with it now would only be self-humiliating. The Konoha villagers on the streets looked up with eyes full of envy. No politics, no conspiracies, relying entirely on strength to speak. As long as you work hard to become strong, you can earn respect, and the boss is loyal too. No matter how you look at it, this is better than our Konoha. At this moment, the sky screen changed its tone. However, although the 4th Reikage of the Hidden Cloud Village has been upright his whole life, with his mind filled only with his career and disciplining his brother. But because he possesses the four major factors, dark skin, blonde hair, athlete, and a robust physique, as long as there is a person of the opposite sex next to him, just standing there, the vibe instantly turns into a doujinshi. This has led him to carve out a niche for himself in the fan creation sector. The text on the light screen flickered. Naruto, doujinshi? What is a doujinshi? Is it edible? Anoki. I've lived to this age, and this is the first time I've heard this word. Killer Bee. Big Brother's fan creation sector? Sounds cool. Yeah. Karatsuchi. Dark skin, blonde hair, athlete. When these words are put together, why does it feel so weird? In the hidden cloud village at the Reikage building, across his arms, staring up at the sky screen, his thick eyebrows knitted together. Fancreatiun secto. I walk upright and sit straight. What on earth is this sky screen making up? Dodai stood in the back, his expression a bit strange. Lord Reikage, this sky screen uses strange wording. I'm afraid it's nothing good. As the saying goes, there is nothing that a lariat cannot knock down. The Reikage representative works include helping the lonely elder Tsunade sparring with Minato without finding a worthy opponent, then sneaking into Minato's house at night for another spar, helping the living widow Sakura crusading against the Akatsuki organization and defeating the Akatsuki's White Tiger, Conan chatting about ideals with the Mizukage during the break at the 5 Kage summit on Naruto's wedding night. The enthusiastic Reikage gets drunk and takes care of the couple attending a meeting at Konoha village and helping the flower girl, Ino Yamanaka, dividing the ownership of the sage tools of Kinkaku and Ginkaku, with little Tenten routinely accepting the advice of his assistant, Mabui. Dead silence. The entire ninja world fell into a state of absolute dead silence that lasted for half a minute. In Konoha village at the Hokage building, Jiraiya had originally been leaning against the window, scanning the sky screen nonchalantly. When the first line of text appeared, he stroked his chin, letting out a chuckle. As a famous best-selling author in the ninja world, a fighter jet among old veterans, he saw through the hidden meanings behind these titles at a glance. These titles are quite cryptic, huh? A lariat to knock out a married woman. TSK, tisk. Jiraiya shifted his gaze downward, scanning the list of achievements one by one. His laughter came to an abrupt halt. In this list, the female ninjas from Konoha alone account for 6. Tsunade. That damn Reikage. You have already paved your way to death. Looking further down, Conan. Jiraiya's chest heaved violently, and he felt his heartbeat stop abruptly. He was lecherous, yes, but seeing his companions, students, and even the granddaughters of his students being arranged into such an unsightly record, the disgust was beyond words. He was a pure love person, you jerk. Hidden Cloud Village. ZZZZT. ZZZT. Reikage was wrapped in violent blue lightning, and his lightning-release chakra caused the surrounding air to crackle. The veins on his neck bulged, and even with his dark skin, it was clear he was blushing red with rage. Bullshit. Nonsense. I have dedicated myself to Hidden Cloud Village. My mind is only on my career. I am completely uninterested in women. This sky screen is slandering my innocence. Killer Bee stared intently at the sky screen from behind his sunglasses, spitting out a few dry syllables. Brother, I envy you so much. Hearing this, Reikage was furious. Shut up. Reikage turned around and delivered a hand chop to Killer Bee's head. The bullet screen area exploded. The adult ninjas who had read the Ica Paradise books were the first to react. Ebisu, ahem, this record really is all-encompassing. Chojuro, the Mizukage is also on the list. Ayo, shut up. How can the Mizukage's innocence be tarnished by this sky screen? Konoha Year 48 Hokage Office. The gentleness on Minato Namake's face vanished completely. This Reikage has already paved his way to death. Konoha Year 60 Training Ground. Naruto scratched his golden hair, looking at Kakashi with confusion. Kakashi-sensei, what does this mean? Why does Uncle Reikage want to take care of me and Hinata? Kakashi covered his face with one hand, stuffing the Ica paradise he had originally intended to take out back into his ninja tool pouch. Naruto, there are some things you are better off not knowing right now. Sasuke glanced at Naruto. Although he didn't know what it meant either, judging by the comments on the bullet screen, it probably wasn't anything proper. Sakura stood between the two, her cheeks flushed bright red, not from shyness, but from pure rage. Living widow? Who is a living widow? I'm not even married yet. Who does the Reikage think he is, daring to come and take care of me? Land of Rain, Akatsuki Organization Base. Nagato sat in his wheelchair, his gaunt fingers gripping the armrests. Fourth Reikage. At this moment, Nagato's Rinnegan was filled with killing intent. Konan was his big brother Yahiko's girlfriend. To dare to pollute the couple he shipped. This person has already paved his way to death. The sky screen image switched. Akatsuki Organization, the main source of villains. So just how bad are the people inside? The text on the sky screen scrolled. The relatively innocent person in the Akatsuki Organization is, first of all, Deidara. Deidara was young and naive when he was swindled into the organization. Deidara looked displeased upon seeing this. I did that in pursuit of art. Who was swindled? The Wagakure. Inoki's face darkened when he saw this. Why is this kid on the sky screen? This crappy sky screen has hardly said a good word so far. Although Deidara is noisy. He shouldn't have done anything heinous, right? The text continued to output. And although Deidara was young, he had already joined the Explosion Corps in a Wagakure. After defecting from the village, he began executing bombing operations everywhere, and the number of people who died at his hands is countless. It is precisely because he has killed countless people, and they were all large-scale operations, that he was targeted by the Akatsuki Organization. Because of his obsession with the art of explosion, human life naturally means nothing in Deidara's eyes. Mei Terumi. To disregard human life at such a young age, Iwagakure's educational methods are truly unique. Inoki, stop talking nonsense. This kid defected long ago. What he does has nothing to do with Iwagakure. The text on the sky screen ruthlessly exposed him. Of course, even after Deidara defected from the village, Inoki did not label him a missing nin. So many people feel that if Deidara hadn't defected in 10 or so years, he could completely sit in the Tsuchikage office and play with Kuratsuchi. The hall in Iwagakure fell into dead silence. Kuratsuchi jumped up suddenly, her cheeks flushed red, steam rising from her head as she pointed at the sky screen and yelled, "Bullshit! I wouldn't do that kind of thing with Deidara and Fourth Reikage, eh? Ha 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 ha. Inoki, you old thing, you really protect your own. You didn't even mark him as a missing nin after he killed so many people. Turns out you were saving him to be your granddaughter's husband. Hiruzen Sarutobi. In the office, the young people of Iwagakure sure know how to play. Inoki, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Shut your stinking mouth. This sky screen is spewing filth. Why are you joining in the fun? Deidara, what's so good about that girl Kuratsuchi? My eyes only see art. The text on the sky screen changed again. And another member of the Akatsuki Organization, Sasori of the Red Sand, has an attitude towards human life similar to Deidara's. To say nothing else, his method of creating nearly 300 human puppets is very cruel. And the hundreds of puppets Sasori possesses are just the ones he finished. Some of the puppets he abandoned were also living human lives. Sunagakure. Granny Chiyo's hand, which was leaning on her cane, trembled violently. Sasori. Ebizo supported his sister's arm, shaking his head repeatedly. Hundreds of lives. Sasori has completely fallen. Fourth Reikage, A. Human puppets? Making living people into weapons? Inoki. Raza, the genius puppet master of your village really brings honor to you. The text on the sky screen continued to output. If Obito killing his master was a bastard move, then Sasori of the Red Sand is even worse on this count alone. Although he did not directly kill his master, he also secretly poisoned the leader of his own village, and the strongest Kazekage, the third Kazekage, died at his hands. The entire shinobi world was in an uproar. Inside Sunagakure, all the sand ninjas raised their heads in unison. The third Kazekage died at Sasori's hands? The bullet screen area refreshed frantically. Mei Terumi, the strongest Kazekage, was turned into a puppet by his own village's genius? Sunageki's confidentiality work is really well done. They looked for so many years and never found the right person. Anoki, no wonder the third Kazekage suddenly disappeared back then, neither dead nor alive. It turns out he was stabbed in the heart by his own people. Compared to the two guys who went crazy for art and puppets, Kakuzu is much more pure. Ever since he defected from the hidden waterfall village, Kakuzu has been working as a bounty hunter. Countless people have died at his hands, and they were all high-level experts with extremely high bounties on the black market. And there is no need to speak of Kakuzu's strength, once all 5 hearts are unleashed. Fire, wind, lightning, water, earth 5-element ninjutsu bombards wildly. Earth Grudge Fear extends over a wide range. Extremely abnormal high-intensity recovery, covering both long-range and close-quarters combat completely. What is even more outrageous is that Kakuzu once fought against the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama, and escaped unscathed. He can be called the oldest veteran in the Akatsuki organization. Once these words were spoken, the ninja world was shocked. 4th Reikage A. To have fought the first Hokage and still escaped unscathed? Just how strong is this old thing? Mei Terumi. To be able to fight the god of shinobi and still be lively enough to work as a bounty hunter. This level of strength would be peak combat power in any village. Konoha establishment period. Senju Hashirama scratched his hair, staring at the man wearing a mask on the sky screen for a long time. He went through the enemies he had fought back then in his mind, but couldn't find a face that matched. Senju Hashirama. Kakuzu? Who is this guy? Why do I have no impression of him at all? Senju Tobarama. Older brother, you fought too many people back then. He's probably just some nobody who threw a shuriken at you and ran away. Is such a person even worth bragging about? Hiruzen Sarutobi, throwing a shuriken and running away. Can that even be considered fighting? Land of Rain, Akatsuki organization base. Deidara leaned over to Kakuzu's side, sizing him up. Old man Kakuzu, you actually fought the first Hokage? You hid that well. Upon hearing this, Kakuzu seemed to think of something, but to avoid losing face, he could only coldly spit out a few words. I just live a long time. As long as you survive, you're the winner. The sky screen image switched. Kakuzu's partner, Haiden, is the ultimate product of the Jashin cult. Haiden's ability mechanism dictates that he must get close to draw blood, but once successful, even a Kage-level powerhouse will have their life exchanged for his in one strike. The most terrifying thing about him is that he is not a brute force ninja, but a rule-based one. You can kill him countless times, but he is immortal. As long as he gets a drop of your blood, you are doomed. And this guy is a pure lunatic. He has no target when killing. He just purely enjoys the act of killing itself. In the image, after Haiden obtained a drop of blood from his opponent, he stood in a blood-red circular formation, his skin turning into black and white skeleton patterns. He raised his pitch-black spear and violently stabbed it into his own heart. In the distance, a Jonin's chest exploded with blood simultaneously, and he died immediately after. Haiden tilted his head back and laughed wildly, his face full of enjoyment. 4th Reikage A. Immortal body? Death upon drawing blood? What kind of ability is this? Is this still the ninja world? Where the hell did you send me? Anoki. As long as you get scratched and bleed a drop, your life is gone? This is too unsolvable. Mei Terumi. Encountering such a lunatic makes even close-quarters combat a death sentence. What kind of monsters has the Akatsuki organization collected? Shikaku. Everyone, you absolutely cannot engage in close-quarters combat with such a person. You must use long-range ninjutsu to wear him down, or use traps to control him completely. As long as you cut off his path to drawing blood, his threat will drop significantly. Akatsuki organization base. Haiden looked at Shikaku's comment and became furious. Shikaku, is it? I remembered you, old man. When I go to Konoha, you'll be the first one I take blood from. Kakuzu cast a cold glance at him. Shut up, you're noisy. Your abilities have all been exposed. the difficulty of drawing blood in the future will definitely double. The text on the sky screen continued to scroll. After looking at the lunatic, let's look at the honest man in the Akatsuki organization. Kisame Hashigaki, the person who looks most like a ninja in the Akatsuki organization. He puts missions first. Even at the end of his life, he was still considering his companions and intelligence. Before joining the Akatsuki organization, Kisame Hashigaki killed many companions, but this was actually a product of the Hidden Mist Village's cruel policies. Kisame Hashigaki essentially detested this kind of mutual slaughter. He did not join the Akatsuki organization for personal gain, nor was he coerced. He just wanted to create a peaceful world that is real, without falsehoods and betrayal. In the image, Kisame Hashigaki was trapped in a giant water prison. In order to prevent Konoha from obtaining intelligence, he formed hand seals with both hands and summoned several summoning sharks. The sharks opened their bloody mouths and devoured him completely. Maitirum Kishama Hoshihaki. The Hidden Mist Village truly failed him. The policies of the Bloody Mist Village drove too many excellent ninjas insane. This is the village's sin. Anoki, choosing to commit suicide to preserve intelligence. This is the true integrity of a ninja. Compared to those lunatics from before, he can indeed be considered a normal person. Fourth Reikage, although he is an enemy, I respect this dedication to his mission. It is much stronger than those cowards who run away when they encounter danger. The sky screen text switched. Uchiha Itachi, Kishimoto's biological father. The most terrifying thing about Uchiha Itachi is not his stat panel, but his mechanism, which can be called abnormal. Tsukuyami, an instant kill in the mental space. Amaterasu, continuous burning at the focus of his gaze, unending until death. After activating Susanoo, his left hand holds the Tatsuka blade, which seals the soul upon cutting. His right hand holds the Yada mirror, reflecting all physical and ninjutsu attacks, achieving absolute defense. Offense, defense, jinjutsu, fully maxed out in all aspects. All are top-tier configurations. What is even more outrageous is his combat intelligence. Many times, you haven't even made a move, and he has already thought about how you will die 3 steps later. Facing Uchiha Itachi, you never know what new mechanism he will pull out to counter you when he faces you. The barrage area froze for a moment, and then someone discovered a blind spot. Madarumi, what does Kishimoto's biological father mean? Since when did Uchiha Itachi pop out a son named Kishimoto? Akatsuki organization base. Deidara jumped back 2 steps, pointing at Uchiha Itachi and shouting, Uchiha Itachi, you actually hid 2 divine artifacts. You didn't use your full strength when you fought me. Are you looking down on me? Uchiha Itachi looked at Deidara coldly and did not reply. Finally, the leader of the Akatsuki organization, Nagato, he attempted to use the absolute power of the Ten Tails to deter the entire ninja world, thereby achieving the peace in his heart. Actually, this philosophy is somewhat similar to the model of the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. Back then, Senju Hashirama was absolutely invincible in the ninja world, so he dared to distribute the tailed beast to other countries, using the balance of power to maintain peace. And what Nagato wanted to do was to sit in the position Senju Hashirama held back then. Everything Nagato did revolve around the core philosophy of creating peace through military force. And his strength is indeed unquestionable. The image cut in. Pain hovered above Konoha, spreading his arms. Let the world feel pain. 6 Paths abilities fully activated. Shinra Tensei, destroying Konoha village in 1 blow. Chibaku Tensei, creating a small celestial body to seal strong enemies. Rinat Tensei, reversing life and death, resurrecting the dead. This is just the 6 paths of pain. What is even more terrifying is the main body, Nagato, absorbing all ninjutsu, manipulating gravitational and repulsive forces, infinitely summoning various giant beasts, and summoning the Gedo statue to extract souls. He alone is a war. The barrage moved frantically. Meitarumi, The intelligence of the Akatsuki organization has indeed been fully exposed. Immortal body, 5 hearts, Tatsuka blade, Rinnegan. This amount of intelligence, if it were normal times, you wouldn't get it even if hundreds of Umbu died. Anoki, the intelligence was earned, but the problem is, how do you fight this gang of monsters? This is simply not power that ordinary ninjas can contend with. Land of Rain, the tower at the highest point of the Akatsuki organization base. Nagato sat in a wheelchair, overlooking the endless curtain of rain below. Conan stood behind him, her expression very poor. The intelligence of other members didn't matter, but the most important intelligence about Nagato had been exposed, which made their plans very difficult to handle. And Nagato didn't have much fluctuation. To be honest, ever since the sky screen exposed that he had been played by Obito, he had been suspicious. Whether his every move now was serving as a pawn for Obito. The image on the sky screen gradually faded. Just as everyone thought this round of ranking had ended, the text on the sky screen changed abruptly. The Akatsuki organizations, take off the coat and die. Law the entire ninja world was silent for 2 seconds. Subsequently, various factions were collectively plunged into confusion. Konoha village. Naruto widened his eyes and scratched his head. What the heck? Can taking off clothes kill people? Kakashi rolled his dead fish eyes and said slowly, if this law is true, then in the future, if ninjas fight, will they win as long as they strip the opponent's clothes? At the Hokage building, Jiraiya heard this and suddenly became spirited. Oh, this research direction is very valuable. I should go gather some material. Land of Rain, Akatsuki organization stronghold. The atmosphere was somewhat subtle. Deidara was the first to jump up, the clay in his hands crunching. Huh? Take off the coat and die? What kind of weird law is that? What does me wearing clothes or not have to do with dying? Haydn grinned disdainfully. Ha ha, take off the coat and die. I am immortal. I'll be fine even if I strip naked. The sky screen text scrolled. Within the Akatsuki organization, there exists such an iron law. As long as you take off that red cloud coat during battle, congratulations, you can basically start picking out your graveyard. This is not a coincidence. This is metaphysics. Next, let us rank them one by one. Inside the Akatsuki organization stronghold, Deidara's mouth twitched. Pick out a graveyard? Are you kidding me? I'm a man who is going to become an artist. Sasori glanced at him coldly. So noisy, shut up and watch. First, Sasori of the Red Sand. The sky screen image flashed, and a figure appeared in the center of the screen. In the image, Sasori was confronting Granny Chiyo and Sakura. The battle entered a white-hot stage. Sasori's red cloud coat shattered and fell off during the intense exchange, revealing his body, which had been modified into a puppet. Then the image continued to advance. Granny Chiyo controlled the 2 puppets, father and mother, approaching from both sides, and the blades pierced through Sasori's core. The image froze. When Sasori of the Red Sand battled Granny Chiyo and Sakura Haruno, after taking off his red cloud coat and revealing his true form, he was stabbed through the heart by his own grandmother. Rather than saying he couldn't win, it's better to say he chose that ending himself. Silence. Inside the Akatsuki organization stronghold, it was unusually quiet. Sasori was silent for a long time. His eyes stared at the image of himself being pierced on the sky screen, showing no emotional fluctuations. Deidara secretly glanced at Sasori, opened his mouth, and closed it again. For once, he did not mock others. Sasori finally spoke, his voice as flat as if he were talking about someone else's affairs. Was I killed like this? Haydn muttered on the side. Hey, we're just accepting it? Aren't you going to curse a bit? You're an S-rank missing Nin. After all, getting stabbed to death by an old lady is too embarrassing, right? Sasori turned his head, his gaze cold. Say one more word, and I will turn you into a puppet. Haydn shrank his neck and stopped making sound. Hidden Sand Village. Granny Chiyo sat on the recliner at her doorstep. She looked at the image on the sky screen of herself tearfully controlling the puppets to pierce her grandson. Her old eyes slightly reddened. Sasori, you silly child. The sky screen text switched. Second, Deidara. The sky screen image unfolded. Deidara was confronting Sasuke. In the image, Deidara tore off his red cloud coat, revealing the black vest underneath. The corners of his mouth curled into an exaggerated arc. He pressed his palm against his chest. There was a giant mouth stitched there. Explosion. A giant Patrick star stood in the forest. Boom! In the image, a mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and the earth was blasted into a bottomless crater. The smoke cleared. Sasuke relied on Manda to escape, while Deidara didn't even have ashes left. Akatsuki Organization Stronghold. Deidara froze in place. 3 seconds later, he exploded. What? What do you mean exploded into air? My art clearly had a huge range. Why was that Sasuke fine? A snake blocked it? Then what counts as my art? Unfair. This is unfair. Kisame slowly added a knife on the side. Judging from results, your art did indeed explode, but you exploded along with it. In a sense, you and your art have become one. Deidara turned to look at Kisame, his mouth twitching. Are you comforting me or mocking me? Kisame showed a simple, honest smile. Both. The sky screen text switched. Zombie Duo. Haiden and Kakuzu Akatsuki Organization Stronghold. Haiden was unhappy as soon as he heard this title. Zombie Duo? Who the hell is a zombie? I am a devout believer of the Jashin religion. Immortal body. Do you understand? The sky screen image played. In the image, Haiden was trapped by Shikamaru's shadow possession jutsu. But even so, he was still clamoring. You want to kill me with just this? I am. Boom. Explosive tags detonated in a chain. Haiden's body was blown into pieces, scattered on the soil of the forest. Subsequently, Shikamaru buried the minced meat and head in the Nara forest, making it impossible for him to ever escape. The image switched, and Shikamaru stood on high ground, holding a cigarette left behind by Asuma. Asuma-sensei, I have avenged this grudge for you. Inside the Akatsuki organization, Haiden was unusually quiet. Although he wasn't afraid of death, being buried deep underground forever was worse than dying. The sky screen continued. Kakuzu, Takigakure Misingnin. A monster with 5 hearts, each corresponding to a chakra nature transformation. In the battle against Team Kakashi, Kakuzu took off his red cloud coat, revealing his body covered in stitches. Subsequently, in the image, Naruto held the wind release Raisin Shuriken, for wind blades rotating and whistling, and the roar of chakra resounded through the battlefield. Kakuzu widened his eyes. This kind of ninjutsu. Boom! The wind release Raisin Shuriken unfolded, and Kakuzu's body was cut by the wind blades, the destruction at the cellular level making it impossible for him to even repair. As Kakuzu began to breathe his last, Kakashi appeared immediately after, lightning flashing in his hand. Lightning blade. Kakuzu died. Akatsuki Organization Stronghold. Kakuzu's complexion was very ugly. 5 hearts, all shattered. His gaze slowly moved to Haiden. If it weren't for you dragging me down, I couldn't have lost. Haiden looked confused. What does it have to do with me? I didn't even appear in this video, and you blame me? I mean, forget it. You wouldn't understand what I mean with that brain of yours. Kakuzu snorted coldly and stopped speaking. Konoha Village. Naruto looked at the image of himself holding the Raisin Shuriken, so excited he almost jumped up. Did you see that? Did you see that? The future me actually developed such a powerful ninjutsu. Uchiha Sasuke had no expression. It's just SOSO. Naruto was unconvinced. You say it's just SOSO? If you're so capable, you do one too. The text on the sky screen switched. The sky screen changed again. The 4th one is Kisame Hashigaki. When battling the 8 Tails Jinchuriki Killer Bee, he confidently took off his coat. Afterward, he used Samahata to escape, but unfortunately ran into Might Guy. In order not to expose the Akatsuki organization's intelligence, Kisame had no choice but to choose suicide, summoning sharks to devour himself. Akatsuki organization base. Kisame leaned against the wall and stroked his chin. The way of dying is considered decent. At least I wasn't blown into thin air. Deidara was instantly enraged. What do you mean by that? Kisame smiled and ignored him. Uchiha Itachi opened his eyes and glanced at Kisame. The two of them were the partners who had worked together the longest in the Akatsuki organization. Uchiha Itachi said nothing and closed his eyes again. But a ripple flashed through those usually calm eyes. According to this order, the next one should be himself. The fifth one, Uchiha Itachi inside the Akatsuki organization base. Deidara saw these words and immediately perked up. Uchiha Itachi, it's finally your turn. Let me see how you died. The sky screen image unfolded. The final battle between Uchiha Itachi and Uchiha Sasuke. The battle was intense. Uchiha Itachi's Sharingan switched constantly. Tsukuyomi, Amaterasu, every move looked fatal, but he held back at the last moment. Tsukuyomi did not completely crush Uchiha Sasuke's spirit. Amaterasu clearly could have burned Uchiha Sasuke to death, but it was cracked by Uchiha Sasuke using a clothing removal technique. The Tatsuka blade and Yada mirror of Susanoo. Uchiha Itachi never used them on Uchiha Sasuke from beginning to end. During the battle, Uchiha Itachi took off his Akatsuki cloak. His body was already riddled with holes, but he was still fighting. Not to kill Uchiha Sasuke, but to let Uchiha Sasuke kill him. In the image, Uchiha Itachi extended 2 fingers and tapped on Uchiha Sasuke's forehead. Uchiha Sasuke, this is the last time. Akatsuki organization base. Uchiha Itachi was still leaning against the wall, expressionless. It was as if what was playing on the sky screen was not his death, but someone else's story. Deidara, however, exploded. Holding back. Are you kidding me? Do you think highly of me or look down on your younger brother? Uchiha Itachi closed his eyes and said indifferently, You are very strong. There is no need for me to use my full strength. Deidara laughed upon hearing this. Haha, I'll take that as a compliment. Konoha village. Uchiha Sasuke stood in the training ground, staring fixedly at the sky screen. The future him really killed Uchiha Itachi? But Uchiha Itachi held back the entire time? What kind of joke is this? Uchiha Sasuke gritted his teeth, the voice squeezed out from between his teeth. I don't need him to hold back. I want to kill him with my own hands, using my own power. The text on the sky screen switched. The sixth one, Uzumaki Nagato, the sky screen image unfolded. The 6 paths of pain invaded Konoha. The Deva path hovered over Konoha, arms spread wide, like a god descending to the world. Let the world feel pain. Shinra Tensei. The entire Konoha village was razed to the ground in an instant. Then, Naruto appeared. Sage mode. In the image, Naruto and the Deva Path of Pain engaged in a fierce duel. Rasengan, Shadow Clone, Frog Kumite. Naruto suppressed the Deva Path for a time. But the power of the Deva Path was too terrifying. Naruto was pinned to the ground by black rods and was almost captured. Until Pain stepped on Hyuga Hinata's body. As everyone knows, anyone who has hit Hyuga Hinata ends up dead. In the image, Naruto's pupils instantly turned into vertical slits. 9-tailed chakra went berserk. For Tails, 6 tails, Naruto completely lost control and chased the Deva Path, beating him violently. During this period, the Deva Path's Akatsuki cloak was torn to shreds. Eventually, Naruto regained his sanity and used one last Rasengan to completely defeat the Deva Path. The camera shifted. Uzumaki Nagato's withered body leaned on a specially made wheelchair, hands clasped together. Outer Path, Samsara of Heavenly Life technique. Uzumaki Nagato's red hair instantly turned snow white, his life force extinguished. Dead silence. The entire ninja world fell into dead silence again. Then came a wave of overly shocked comments. Are you kidding me? Didn't you just say that Uzumaki Nagato alone is a war? Now you're telling me that Naruto alone handled it? Konoha's 9-tails Jinchuriki is this strong. Konoha village. Naruto was completely stunned. Me? Alone? Fighting pain. And I even persuaded that Rinnegan user? The future me is too strong. Kakashi looked at the back of Naruto on the sky screen, his eyes complex. Minato-sensei, your son will become an amazing ninja in the future. The text on the sky screen switched. This time, the art style suddenly changed. Finally, the only female member of the Akatsuki organization, Konan, did not follow the clothing removal law. She didn't take off her clothes, but she still died. Setting aside the reason for passing censorship, let's think about it carefully. As everyone knows, Konan specializes in paper ninjutsu, and her clothes are made from paper ninjutsu. Does paper clothing count as clothing? Quiet. Everyone was racing their brains trying to understand. Fourth Reikage, what kind of logic is this? Does clothing made of paper ninjutsu not count as clothing? Maid Harumi, doesn't that mean Konan actually wasn't wearing anything? Inoki, cough cough, this old man didn't see anything. A certain honest person, no, there's a problem with this logic. Things created by paper ninjutsu should count as physical entities, right? And the clothes are clothes. Akatsuki organization base. Conan's face darkened. Paper clothing doesn't count as clothing. Her voice was very calm, but that calmness was even more terrifying than rage. Deidara swallowed, took 2 steps to the side. The sky screen is talking nonsense. Don't take it seriously. Haydn whispered on the side. Seriously, does paper clothing count as clothing or not? Uchiha Itachi did not participate in this farce at all. He leaned against the wall, watching the sky screen with calm eyes. This so-called law of dying after taking off clothes. In the end, it was just a group of people wearing Akatsuki cloaks, each walking toward the destination they chose. Some died heroically, some died with relief, some died absurdly. But every single person died on their own path. The sky screen image switched. Text slowly appeared on the firmament. This time, the title alone was explosive enough. Is Sasuke the biological father of Orochimaru? The entire ninja world froze for a second. Fourth Reikage, what the hell? Biological father? Orochimaru's father? How old is that kid? Mei Terumi, is this title a bit too outrageous? Inoki, I've been watching the sky screen for so long, and this is the first time I've felt my presbyopia might be getting serious. Let me look again. I didn't misread it. It really says biological father. Konoha Village. Naruto almost spat out his water. Sasuke is Orochimaru's father. Orochimaru is several generations older than Sasuke. How does that seniority even work? Kakashi was thoughtful. Don't be impatient. Since the sky screen says so, there must be a reason. Although I can't think of any reason that would explain this. The sky screen text began to scroll. The reason Sasuke defected from Konoha to join Orochimaru was very pure. To pursue power and kill Uchiha Itachi. He was even willing to sacrifice his own life for it. Fundamentally, this was a transaction. Sasuke sold his body in exchange for Orochimaru, helping him become stronger to eventually kill Uchiha Itachi. Orochimaru needed Sasuke's body to complete his reincarnation, and Sasuke needed Orochimaru's power to complete his revenge. Each got what they needed, a fair trade. However, due to some complications, the time for Orochimaru's body snatching was delayed for 3 years. So, during these 3 years, Orochimaru began teaching Sasuke his skills. The scene unfolded. The training grounds of Otogeikure. Scenes of Orochimaru personally instructing Sasuke flashed by. Mastery of the Cursed Seal, sword techniques, ninjutsu shape transformation, derivative techniques of Chidori, Chidori Sharp Spear, Chidori Stream, all developed under Orochimaru's guidance. Orochimaru-style body replacement technique, and even the summoning technique for snakes. Sasuke learned them one by one, absorbing everything. Someone in the bullet comment section began to catch on. Maid Harumi, wait, has Orochimaru emptied his entire bag of tricks? Curse seal, sword techniques, body replacement, summoning, he didn't leave anything out? Jiraiya, Orochimaru really did teach him everything. That Sasuke could learn it all in 3 years. His talent is truly terrifying. Shikaku, Orochimaru was planning to snatch Sasuke's body, so of course he had to teach him all his skills. After all, the body would be his own later. teaching the apprentice isn't a loss. Odo-Geikure. Orochimaru watched the scene of himself teaching Sasuke on the sky screen, the curve of his mouth deepening. It really was teaching him everything I knew. Sasuke's learning ability truly surprises me. In 3 years, he learned everything I spent most of my life researching. It's truly perfect, the body of an Uchiha. The sky screen text continued. Then, the 3-year period arrived. The scene shifted. Sasuke stood in a corridor of Odo-Geikure. Compared to 3 years ago, he had completely changed into a different person. The impulsive, angry, hatred-filled youth from 3 years ago was gone. Standing here now was a man exuding a cold, ethereal aura. White clothes, Kusanagi sword, 3-tomo Sharingan. His gaze was indifferent, his presence powerful. The sky screen even gave Sasuke a slow-motion close-up. His white clothes fluttered with the wind, his hair brushed slightly over his shoulders, his eyes were indifferent and devoid of any warmth, making him look impossibly cold and aloof. The style of the bullet comment section changed abruptly. Kuratsuchi. This Sasuke is actually quite handsome. Maid Harumi. As expected, men still need to rely on dressing up. Orochimaru doesn't just teach ninjutsu, but also fashion. Konoha village. Sakura looked at the image of the white-clad Sasuke on the sky screen, her face flushing red instantly. Sasuke, so handsome. Naruto rolled his eyes beside her. TCH, what's so handsome about wearing white clothes? Ino appeared from nowhere and grabbed Sakura's shoulders. Sakura, look, Sasuke is really so handsome. White clothes suit him perfectly. Sakura's face turned even redder. Ino, stop it. Sasuke himself was expressionless. He didn't care about things like dressing up. At this moment, he was extremely curious. To what extent had his strength reached at that time? The sky screen continued. Sasuke's strength after 3 years had undergone a qualitative change. He could completely crush Team 7 of that time, all by himself. The scene cut in. Sasuke faced 4 people alone, under no pressure. With a turn of his 3-tomo Sharingan, he directly invaded Naruto's mental world. The scene shifted to Sasuke, standing in front of a giant iron cage. The nine-tailed was wrapped in bubbles, its giant vertical pupils staring fixedly at him. Brat! Sasuke was expressionless. With a flash of his Sharingan, he forcibly invaded the nine-tailed's consciousness. Then with one hand held in a void grip, the nine-tailed's body directly turned into orange bubbles and dissipated. Fourth Reikage A. 3-tomo can suppress the nine-tailed. He hadn't even awakened his Mangekyo yet. Maid Harumi. The Uchiha clan's suppression of tailed beasts is truly, outrageously unreasonable. Jiraiya. Minato risked his life to seal the nine-tailed back then, yet Sasuke suppressed it with just the 3-tomo. The Sharingan is indeed the natural enemy of tailed beasts. Fourth Reikage. So, if Konoha possesses both the Uchiha and the nine-tailed, in theory, they will never have to fear a tailed beast rampaging. Hiruzen. The Konoha higher-ups were collectively silent. This topic was too heart-wrenching. The sky screen text continued. To verify the results of his 3 years of training, Sasuke chose to challenge Orochimaru. In the scene, Orochimaru sat weakly on the bed. The high-spirited, one of the Sannin from 3 years ago, could barely stand at this moment. And standing in front of him was Sasuke, his white clothes like snow, his Sharingan gazing at him coldly. Orochimaru, you have nothing left to teach me. On Sasuke's hand, the Chidori sharp spear lit up. Orochimaru struggled to form hand seals, attempting to counterattack in the form of the great white snake. But it was too slow. The Chidori sharp spear pierced through Orochimaru's body. Orochimaru didn't even have time to make a second move. Orochimaru dead. Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin. Under Sasuke's hands, he didn't even last a single round. It wasn't that Orochimaru was too weak, but that Sasuke at this time was too strong. 3 years of cultivation resulted in a monster capable of killing himself. The bullet comment section completely lost it. Fourth Reikage A. Ha ha ha. Orochimaru spent 3 years raising an assassin to kill himself? What kind of plot is this? Jiraiya. Orochimaru. Oh, Orochimaru-sai, you guy. Tsunade. Serves you right, making you do human experiments. Now you're getting your retribution. Mei Terumi. But having said that, Orochimaru's body was already on the verge of collapse at that time. If it weren't for that reason, Sasuke might not have been able to kill him so easily. Inoki. Regardless, Orochimaru taught Sasuke everything. He even taught him how to kill himself. This master-apprentice relationship is truly moving. Odo Geikure. Orochimaru looked at the screen, showing himself being pierced by the Chidori's sharp spear, his expression remaining calm. Yakushi Kabuto asked cautiously from the side, Lord Orochimaru, aren't you angry? Orochimaru smiled. Why would I be angry? That Sasuke could kill me shows that my education was successful. A student who cannot even kill his own master is the only thing that would disappoint me. Yakushi Kabuto was silent for 2 seconds. Lord Orochimaru, is there something wrong with your educational philosophy? The sky screen text switched abruptly. Others take apprentices, they take beloved students. What Orochimaru took was a biological father. Across the ninja world, countless people saw this line of text. Their expressions varied. Some laughed out loud, some were completely confused, and some felt it seemed to make sense but couldn't pinpoint what was wrong. Mei Terumi, wait, it's not over yet? The sky screen image switched again. In the scene, Karen Uzumaki pointed at Sasuke with a look of grievance. I'm telling you, Lord Orochimaru, Sasuke actually killed me. Orochimaru stood by the side, expressionless. What a coincidence, me too. But I'm Sasuke's helper now. You came just in time, you should help too. Karen Uzumaki, you were also stabbed? You were also stabbed, and you're still helping him work? The word stab was flagged as inappropriate, hard to handle. The sky screen image switched. Fourth Shinobi World War. Orochimaru was resurrected by Sasuke. However, the resurrected Orochimaru's first action was not to seek revenge, nor to cause trouble. Instead, he obediently followed behind Sasuke. When Sasuke said he was going to see the previous Hokage, Orochimaru performed the Edo Tensei. When Sasuke said he was going to the battlefield, Orochimaru followed him to the battlefield. When Sasuke said to help Konoha fight in the Fourth Shinobi World War, Orochimaru went without a word. In the scene, Orochimaru even pledged his loyalty to Sasuke in front of the 5 Kage. I listened to Sasuke. If Sasuke is not satisfied, I might just control these reanimated Hokage and destroy the entire Konoha. Fourth Reikage. What the hell is this relationship? Jiraiya. Orochimaru, you are one of the Sannin alongside me. Where's your backbone? Where's your ambition? What is going on with you obeying a brat like that? However, the sky screen seemed to think that what had just happened wasn't explosive enough. The image flashed violently. Sasuke's dedication, the snake-chanting master of the comment section, exploded instantly. An image appeared shortly after. Sasuke cleared his throat and raised a microphone. Subtitles appeared simultaneously on the sky screen. You say don't be a coward. I flee from the village. Master Orochimaru, I still remember you. The lyrics were extremely affectionate, as if calling out into the distance. The screen flashed scenes of Sasuke training under Orochimaru, practicing with the sword, practicing Chidori, practicing the body replacement technique. Every word dragging me into the mist. Master Orochimaru, I still remember you, a cry falling to the ground, turning you into a popsicle. Seeing this, everyone in the ninja world couldn't hold it together anymore. What the hell is this song? It's less like chanting for a master and more like acknowledging a snake daddy. Before anyone had time to process it, the sky screen changed scenes. How great is it to be handsome? Taking Uchiha Sasuke as an example, the entire ninja world went quiet for a second. In Konoha village, Naruto was instantly displeased. Again, why is the sky screen praising Sasuke again? Last time it was Orochimaru's actual father. What is it going to say this time? Sasuke himself didn't show much reaction. Being handsome, he had never cared about that. The text on the sky screen began to scroll. Sasuke has been praised for his looks since he was a child. Basically, Every time a new character appears, they have to praise him. The scene cut. Clips flash by rapidly. In a ninja academy, girls swarmed around Sasuke, screaming. During the Chunin exams, female ninjas from other villages blushed immediately upon seeing Sasuke. Kuratsuchi. This guy is indeed handsome. But isn't the sky screen a bit too obsessed with this topic? The sky screen text continued. But Sasuke's handsomeness can no longer be described simply as handsome. Anyone who has had deep contact with him eventually falls into an irrational urge to sacrifice themselves for him. This isn't just being handsome anymore. This is handsome to the point of being a succubus. Jiraiya. I've been writing Ica Paradise for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen the word succubus used on a man. The sky screen continued. Let's start with Naruto. Naruto chased Sasuke for over a decade, from Konoha village to Otoge-cure, from Otoge-cure to the 5 Kage summit, and from the 5 Kage summit to the Valley of the End. But Naruto is still somewhat understandable. After all, Sasuke was the first person to understand him, the first person to acknowledge his existence. Chasing him for so long is barely justifiable. But when it comes to absurdity, it has to be Sakura Haruno. Sakura suddenly had a bad feeling. The sky screen continued. Sakura's affection for Sasuke can no longer be called liking. That is called obsession. The scene cut. Clips flashed by. The night Sasuke left Konoha village, Sakura confessed while crying and was rejected. Sasuke almost killed her at the 5 Kage summit. Sasuke left the village for over a decade, and she raised her child alone, stubbornly holding on to that feeling for over a decade while talking to the air. The sky screen text changed. Confession rejected. Almost killed. He wasn't even in the village. She stubbornly insisted on liking him for over a decade while talking to the air. The comment section went completely crazy. Fourth Rakage. Wait. She still likes him after being almost killed? What kind of logic is this? In Konoha village, Sakura's face turned red to the tips of her ears. Sky screen. What are you saying? The sky screen text continued, digging deeper. Orochimaru, that old fox, has spent his whole life scamming countless people. Yet, upon meeting Sasuke, his intelligence plummeted. He gave him a house, taught him ninjutsu. In the end, even when he was killed in retaliation, he smiled with satisfaction. Is this taking on an apprentice? This is finding himself a daddy. The comment section was laughing like crazy. Tsunade. If Orochimaru heard these comments, I wonder if he'd climb out his coffin to beat people up. Meitarumi. Lady Tsunade. Orochimaru isn't dead yet. He's watching the sky screen, right now, in Otoge-cure. Tsunade. Then his expression must be very interesting right now. In Otoge-cure, Orochimaru watched the sky screen, the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. Intelligence plummeted. He licked his lips. Perhaps. But Sasuke is indeed worth it. Yakushi Kabuto stood beside him, adjusting his glasses with a complicated expression. The sky screen text continued. Let's talk about Suigetsu Hozuki, Yugo, and Karen Uzumaki. These three are jealous and bickering every day, fighting over who gets to give Sasuke a blood transfusion first, fighting over who gets to be the meat shield first, fighting over who gets their head patted first. In Konoha village, Naruto looked at the image of Taka, feeling completely awful. Sasuke, you actually pat other people's heads? Have you ever patted my head? Sasuke glanced at him coldly. No, and you never will. Naruto, Sakura muttered to the side. When Sasuke pats Karen Uzumaki's head, what kind of expression does he have? Ino patted Sakura on the shoulder. Sakura, don't ask. Asking just brings heartache. Damn it. I'm so envious of you and that Karen Uzumaki. The sky screen text changed. The most incredible part is his actual father, Fugaku. Itachi went to the battlefield at 4, finished the 3rd Great Ninja War, and went straight into the Umbu as a double agent. And Sasuke? He was only sent to the Ninja Academy at 6, learning basic courses like the body replacement technique. The scene changed. In a Ninja Academy, Sasuke was learning the transformation technique, body replacement technique, and clone technique with the other children. The sky screen text continued. Same father, same mother, but the way they were raised was completely different. Not to mention Itachi. He was willing to slaughter the entire clan for his younger brother. And before dying, he still smiled and poked his forehead. In the image, Itachi fell in front of Sasuke, extended 2 fingers, and touched Sasuke's forehead. Sasuke, this is the last time. A faint smile played on Itachi's lips as he closed his eyes. Uchiha Madara, Tobarama. Looking at it this way, it's not just these Senju. Does Itachi doing this also have something to do with this Uchiha brat? After talking about Orochimaru, let's talk about Jiraiya next. The barrage area went silent instantly. After the previous rounds of bombardment, everyone had learned their lesson and gotten smarter. They would watch the whole thing before commenting. The sky screen text began to scroll. Jiraiya's teaching direction was completely different from Orochimaru's. What he wanted to do was to cultivate Naruto into a capable, independent ninja. Besides strength, he also focused on the tempering of will and spiritual companionship. The scene cut in. Scenes of Jiraiya and Naruto's daily training flashed by. In the woods, Jiraiya leaned against a tree trunk reading, while Naruto practiced his Rasengan nearby. When tired from training, Jiraiya would take out a bento and share it with Naruto. At night, while soaking in the hot springs, the two sat side by side as Jiraiya told Naruto stories from his youth. As he talked, Jiraiya slowly edged toward the women's bathhouse. Jiraiya knew clearly that Naruto had the nine-tailed sealed inside him and had suffered greatly during his childhood. Therefore, he did not want Naruto to bear too much pressure. Their way of getting along was very relaxed. They trained while writing novels. Sometimes, Jiraiya would even take Naruto to gather material. Someone in the barrage area couldn't help but speak up. Maitirum, gather material. This gathering material, it couldn't be that kind of gathering material, could it? Fourth Reikage, he took a child to peep? Jiraiya, what do you guys know? That's called appreciating art. The sky screen text continued. The way Jiraiya and Naruto got along was more like family than master and student. During the 3 years of teaching, Jiraiya made up for all the foundations Naruto had missed over the years. He allowed Naruto to achieve comprehensive development, the most obvious of which was his weakness in Jinjutsu. The scene cut in. The scene showed Jiraiya explaining how to break Jinjutsu to Naruto at the training ground. Listen well, Naruto, the essence of Jinjutsu is to disrupt the opponent's chakra flow. There are 2 ways to break it. First, use your own chakra to force it open. Second, have a companion help you disrupt your chakra flow. The sky screen text switched. Jiraiya knew clearly that if Naruto wanted to bring Sasuke back, he would inevitably have to fight Sharingan experts like Sasuke, or even Uchiha Itachi. Thus, breaking Jinjutsu became the top priority. The barrage area became active. Fourth Reikage, Jiraiya may look unserious usually, but he is truly dedicated when teaching students. Jinjutsu, Taijutsu, Ninjutsu. He didn't let a single weakness slide. Jiraiya, that goes without saying. How could a student taught by me have unbalanced skills? Tsunade, the level of Jinjutsu you teach is just SOSO. It's just the basics of the basics. Jiraiya, if you're so good, Tsunade, you teach him. I just learned from the old man that Naruto's chakra control is very poor, and Jinjutsu was never his strong suit. It's already quite impressive that I managed to help him get a passing grade. The sky screen text continued. Secondly, it was the control of the nine-tailed chakra. Considering that Naruto was a Jinchuriki, Jiraiya knew he would sooner or later have to learn to control the power of a nine-tailed within him. The scene cut in. Jiraiya stood behind Naruto, pressing his hands on Naruto's back. The 8-trigram seal on Naruto's abdomen appeared. Jiraiya slowly turned the key to the seal. The nine-tailed chakra began to seep out from the gaps in the seal. The orange-red chakra was like boiling magma. Naruto's body arched violently, his expression pained. The nine-tailed chakra surging for Naruto's body became thicker and thicker. 3 tails appeared. For tails, Naruto's consciousness began to blur, and his eyes turned into vertical pupils. Jiraiya's expression was grave to the extreme. That's enough. He tried to close the seal, but the nine-tailed chakra was already out of control. Naruto, with 4 tails, went on a rampage. In the scene, Jiraiya was severely injured by the rampaging Naruto, his chest torn by several bloody gashes from the nine-tailed chakra. Jiraiya leaned against a wall, clutching the wound on his chest, and couldn't help but smile bitterly as he watched Naruto gradually regain his senses. And the price was nearly losing his life. The barrage area went silent. Senja Hashirama, this boy Jiraiya, was almost killed by his own student. Mei Terumi, can even a ninja of Jiraiya's level barely withstand Naruto in his 4-tailed state? The power of the nine-tailed is truly terrifying. Watching this segment of Jiraiya's training, Naruto stared at the scene on the sky screen, where Jiraiya was severely injured by his own rampaging self, and he froze completely. He didn't remember this incident. Or rather, during the time he was rampaging, his consciousness had been blank. He didn't know that Jiraiya had nearly lost his life to help him control the nine-tailed. Pervy Sage. Naruto turned his head to look at Jiraiya. Jiraiya waved his hand, looking indifferent. Don't look at me with that gaze. I'm tough as nails. Besides, if a master doesn't protect his student, who will? Naruto's eyes reddened, but he didn't cry. He turned his head, rubbed his eyes hard, and then grinned. Pervy Sage, you really are amazing. Jiraiya laughed heartily and patted Naruto's back hard. That goes without saying. I am one of the legendary Sannin. The sky screen text continued. Besides controlling the nine-tailed chakra, Jiraiya also helped Naruto develop ninjutsu along the way. Among them, the big ball Rasengan contained highly compressed nine-tailed chakra. The scene cut in. Naruto held the huge Rasengan in both hands, the chakra rotating and roaring. The volume of the Rasengan was several times larger than a normal Rasengan, and the density of the chakra was visibly higher. The foundation Jiraiya helped Naruto build over these 3 years, although not as obvious as Sasuke's increase in strength. But it laid a tremendous foundation for Naruto's later development of the Wind Release, Rasen Shuriken, Sage Mode, and the control of the nine-tailed chakra. Under the sky screen, Naruto listened to the analysis in the barrage area and scratched his head. So, the things Pervy Sage taught me are actually very amazing? Jiraiya leaned against the window, rarely without his usual playful grin. Naruto, what I taught you isn't how to win a fight. It's how to be a ninja for a lifetime. Naruto was stunned for a moment. Then he grinned. Pervy Sage, you're actually quite cool when you say things like that. Get lost. When have I ever not been cool? The sky screen text switched, and the tone suddenly became lighthearted. And during this period, Naruto not only built a solid foundation, he even learned to write sequels to Ica Paradise. The scene cut in. Naruto sat at a desk, biting on the end of his pen, with a stack of manuscript paper spread out in front of him. On the manuscript paper, written in crooked handwriting, was the title, Ica Paradise, sequel Kakashi. Wait. Naruto can write sequels to Ica Paradise? Minato Namikaze. Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto, why did you learn something like that? Jiraiya, that's called literary creation. Literature, do you understand? Naruto has talent. Tsunade, what kind of talent? The talent for writing trashy books? Jiraiya, look at what you've turned someone else's child into. Inoki, to be honest, if Naruto doesn't become a ninja in the future, he can make a living by writing novels. Jiraiya has effectively left a backup plan for his student. Konoha Village. Sakura looked on, completely confused. What is Ica Paradise? Kakashi glanced at the bewildered Naruto beside him, feeling quite emotional that Naruto actually had this kind of talent. Although he was thinking about whether to find a time to let the current Naruto try writing, he still smoothed things over verbally. It's nothing. Kids don't need to know. The sky screen text switched abruptly. The same 3 years Naruto's attitude toward Jiraiya was completely opposite to Sasuke's. Sasuke treats Orochimaru like a son. Naruto treats Jiraiya like a father. Or one could say it's like a grandfather and grandson. The sky screen image switched. As the top duo of Konoha Village between Naruto and Sasuke, whose IQ is actually higher. Konoha Village. Naruto got excited on the spot. Do you even have to ask? Of course it's me. Sasuke glanced at him expressionlessly, saying nothing. The meaning of that look was very clear. You think your IQ is high? The text on the sky screen began to scroll. Because Naruto is always shouting, his IQ appears to be not very high. Sasuke is quiet and reserved, looking like a cold, elite, academic genius. But in reality, the two of them are exactly the same. Specific data is as follows. Naruto's IQ, 90. Sasuke's IQ, 100. Akamaru's IQ, 105. Silence. The entire ninja world fell silent for 2 seconds. Fourth Reikage, A. Who is Akamaru? Maitirum Akamaru. Never heard of this name. Is he an expert from some hidden village? Senju Tobarama. Akamaru. I have no impression of this name. Does Konoha have such a person? Konoha Village. Inazuka Kiba posted a message on the barrage. Inazuka Kiba. Akamaru is my dog. Silence. Then the barrage area was flooded with question marks. Fourth Reikage. A. Maitirum. Anoki. A dog? Jiraiya. A dog's IQ is higher than Naruto and Sasuke's? Tsunade. Inazuka Kiba. Confirm for me. Is Akamaru's IQ really 105? Inazuka Kiba. Absolutely true. Akamaru is so smart. He can shake hands, sit, and play dead. He could do it all. Fourth Reikage A. That's called training results, not IQ. Konoha Village. Sasuke's face darkened. His IQ was lower than a dog's. A dog. Naruto was laughing so hard beside him that he couldn't straighten his back. Ha ha. Sasuke, you're not as good as a dog. Ha ha ha. Sasuke turned his head, his Sharingan slowly rotating. Your IQ is 90. You're not even as good as me. Naruto's laughter stopped abruptly. Inazuka Kiba was holding Akamaru on the side, looking smug. Did you see that, Akamaru? You're even smarter than that cocky guy Sasuke. Akamaru woof. The text on the sky screen continued, and that 10-point IQ advantage Sasuke has over Naruto only manifests in this. Questioning at first, then immediately following along. The image cut. A classic scene emerged. Naruto proposed a plan. Sasuke frowned. Will this work? After thinking about it, Sasuke, let's go. Konoha Village. Veins began to bulge on Sasuke's temple. When did I ever immediately follow along? I think seriously every time. Naruto muttered on the side. You probably think for about 3 seconds. Shut up. The text on the sky screen continued. Land of Waves mission, the image cut. Land of Waves bridge. Kakashi was trapped by Zabuza's water prison jutsu. Naruto and Sasuke faced immense pressure against Zabuza's shadow clone. Naruto rolled his eyes and thought of a plan. In the image, Naruto leaned into Sasuke's ear and whispered a few words. Sasuke nodded. Then Sasuke rushed up. Then he got beaten up. In the process of being beaten, Sasuke attracted all of Zabuza's attention. At the same time, Naruto transformed into a windmill shuriken and was thrown towards Sasuke by another Naruto. The moment Sasuke caught the shuriken, he understood Naruto's plan. Using the cover of the shadow clone, he threw the transformed Naruto like a shuriken, taking advantage of the chaos to break the water prison jutsu. The plan succeeded. The water prison jutsu was broken, and Kakashi was freed. The text on the sky screen switched. There was no problem with the plan itself. But there is a small detail worth pondering. Was the beating Sasuke took necessary? Sasuke attracting attention was to give the shadow clone cover to pass the shuriken. But is there a possibility that Sasuke could have gotten the shuriken with the shadow clone's cover without taking that beating? The barrage area was silent for 2 seconds. Then someone reacted. Fourth Reikage, hey, so Naruto having Sasuke go up and get beaten first was actually unnecessary? Madarumi, that's not right. That's not right. Attracting attention is still necessary, right? Senju Tobarama, there are many ways to attract attention. One doesn't necessarily have to go up and get beaten personally. Shadow clones can also attract attention. Naruto's own shadow clones could have done it too. Jiraiya. So, Naruto having Sasuke take a beating first was purely because Tsunade. He wanted to see Sasuke get beaten. Konoha village, everyone who was present during that time. Naruto's expression instantly became very subtle. Sasuke turned his head and looked at Naruto expressionlessly. Naruto, did you do it on purpose? No, absolutely not. The text on the sky screen continued. Let's talk about another thing. During a certain mission, because of the enemy's ninjutsu, Naruto and Sasuke's hand were stuck together. The image cut. Naruto and Sasuke's right and left hands were stuck together by a strange ninjutsu. The two of them pulled hard, but couldn't pull them apart. They tried cutting with a kunai, but couldn't cut through. They tried slamming against a wall, but couldn't break it. The two of them struggled for a long time, but they were still stuck fast. After struggling for a long time, Naruto simply steeled himself. In the image, Naruto turned his head to look at Sasuke and gave him a look. The meaning of that look was very clear. Jump. Sasuke looked at Naruto and understood immediately. Jump. Then the two of them jumped off the cliff together. Fourth Reikage. Maitirum. Jumping off a cliff? Jiraiya. What kind of logic is this? What does hands being stuck together have to do with jumping off a cliff? Konoha village. Naruto scratched his head. There really wasn't any other way at the time. Sasuke was expressionless. You said jump, so I jumped. Why didn't you stop me at the time? Because I thought what you said made sense. What sense? I don't know. The text on the sky screen continued. There was another time when Naruto had a sudden idea to investigate the true face under Kakashi-sensei's mask. The scene cut in. Naruto lowered his voice and leaned into Sasuke's ear. Do you think, what exactly does Kakashi-sensei look like under that mask? Sasuke was expressionless, clearly not wanting to engage in such nonsense. But Naruto wouldn't give up. Think about it. Kakashi-sensei wears a mask every day. There must be a reason, right? Maybe he has sausage lips. Or buck teeth. Otherwise, why cover it up? Sasuke's expression changed subtly. Although he was very reluctant to admit it, he was indeed swayed by Naruto's description. So the two of them formulated a plan. The first, Operation Ramen. In the scene, Naruto treated Kakashi-sensei to ramen, attempting to see his face under the mask while he ate. As it turned out, Kakashi-sensei ate ramen at an absurdly fast speed. The mask never even lifted. The plan failed. The second, Operation Stealthy Follow. In the scene, Naruto and Sasuke hid in the shadows to track Kakashi-sensei, trying to sneak a peek when he took off his mask. As it turned out, Kakashi-sensei never took it off the entire time. The plan failed again. The third, the fourth, the fifth. The screen quickly flashed through a series of failed scenes. Every single plan went down the drain. Inoki, they all failed? Not a single one succeeded? Madarumi, these plans, honestly, none of them were reliable, right? Senju, Tobirama, Operation Ramen, Operation Stealthy Follow, these methods were full of holes to begin with. With a ninja's vigilance, it's impossible to be fooled by such petty tricks. Jiraiya, the problem is, these plans were all proposed by Naruto. Sasuke just followed along and executed them. The sky screen continued. And the most incredible part is, until the very end, Sasuke only thought that his own ability was insufficient. And he never suspected that the methods Naruto proposed were the problem. Everyone in the ninja world was collectively speechless. Fourth Reikage, Sasuke thought his ability was insufficient, not that Naruto's methods were the problem. In Konoha village, Sasuke fell silent. He earnestly recalled the situation at that time. It seemed that was indeed the case. Naruto gloated from his side. Sasuke, you finally realized? Those plans were indeed things I just thought up randomly. Sasuke turned his head, expressionless. Why didn't you say so at the time? Even if I said it, you wouldn't have listened. That's true. The sky screen continued. Next, let's talk about something even more outrageous. Sasuke not only has low emotional intelligence, but his reaction time is also incredibly long. In Konoha village, Sasuke frowned. Long reaction time? What does that mean? The sky screen continued. It manifests in the fact that no matter what happens, Sasuke is constantly spamming question marks and ellipses. The scene cut in. Classic scenes flashed by rapidly. Naruto said something outrageous. Sasuke. The enemy said something inexplicable. Sasuke. Someone did something bizarre. Sasuke. In everyone's impression, Sasuke is aloof and doesn't want to talk. But actually, that's not it. He really just didn't react in time. Madarumi. So those silences and ellipses wasn't being cool. It was his brain still buffering. The sky screen continued. This point was expressed most extremely in Sasuke's future battle against Deidara. The scene cut in. A strange wilderness. Sasuke stood alone on an empty patch of ground, with Deidara standing opposite him. At the Akatsuki organization base, Deidara saw his own image on the sky screen and immediately perked up. Oh, is it my turn? In the sky screen. The battle between the two had come to a temporary pause. Sasuke activated his Sharingan, coldly staring at Deidara. Seeing those red eyes, the expression on Deidara's face instantly became annoyed. It's this look that makes people angry. This look you two brothers have. Deidara pointed at Sasuke's Sharingan, getting angrier as he spoke. Why are you acting cool? It's that look. I hate that look. In the scene, Sasuke was slightly stunned. Then he turned off his Sharingan. Madarumi. He said he hated that look, and you just turned your eyes off? Inoki. Wait, what kind of move is this? He said he hated your look, so you turned your eyes off? Is this being obedient? At the Akatsuki organization base, Deidara saw this scene, his mouth twitching. This Sasuke, what does he mean? I said I hated his look, and he just turned his eyes off? Is he brushing me off? Kisame said from the side, somewhat gloomily. Maybe he was really complying with your request. Deidara got even angrier. Comply my ass. We're fighting. Isn't turning off your Sharingan messing around? Is this respect or an insult? The sky screen continued. Deidara saw Sasuke had turned off his Sharingan, and the anger on his face grew heavier. You're not even using your Sharingan. You're really looking down on me. In the scene, a huge question mark seemed to float above Sasuke's head. What is this guy talking about? Inoki. The conversation between these two is literally cross-channel chatting. Deidara is venting emotions, and Sasuke is trying to understand the logic. It doesn't match up at all. Tsunade, Sasuke's expression with the question mark, it really doesn't look like he's faking it. He really doesn't understand why Deidara is angry. Uchiha Itachi, at the Akatsuki organization base, Deidara was jumping up and down on the ground. What does that Sasuke mean? I said I hated his look, and he just turned it off? And then he didn't say anything after turning it off? Just looking at me, with a face full of question marks. Is he looking down on me, or does he really not understand? Itachi leaned against the wall and spoke indifferently. He should really not understand. Deidara turned his head to look at Itachi. Is your brother genuinely stupid, or just pretending to be? Itachi closed his eyes, recalling Sasuke's past. I don't know, but I often call him my foolish little brother. Kisame said from the side, somewhat gloomily. Itachi-san, is that a declarative statement? Itachi did not respond, but silence was more expressive than words. In Konoha village, Sasuke watched the scene on the sky screen, where he was being roared at by Deidara, while looking full of question marks, and he remained silent for a long time. He truly didn't understand. What exactly was that blonde guy angry about? He said he hated his look, so he turned it off. After turning it off, he said he was looking down on him. What does he want? What exactly does he want? No, why are there savory zongzi? I feel like sweet zongzi are better. Savory ones are a bit hard to swallow. Sweet zongzi with white sugar are about the same as the bamboo tube zongzi you buy. The sky screen image switched. Finished with Naruto and Sasuke. Next, let's talk about the Sannin. Among the Sannin, who is the strongest? Konoha village. Jiraiya leaned against the window, the corners of his mouth curling up slightly. Strongest? Is that even a question? Tsunade, who had arrived from who knows where, let out a cold snort. Don't get cocky, the sky screen hasn't finished yet. The text on the sky screen began to scroll. Let's first look at the loadout of each Sannin. Orochimaru is strong because he is immortal. He has mastered the bug-level forbidden ninjutsu, Edo Tensei, and possesses the infinite stamina brought by the living corpse reincarnation. Theoretically, as long as he wants to hide, no one can truly kill him. But his weaknesses are also very obvious. Because of using the living corpse reincarnation, his soul is shattered. His resistance to Jinjutsu is extremely low. A clip flashed on the screen. Uchiha Itachi's Sharingan locked onto Orochimaru. With just one look, Orochimaru was frozen by Jinjutsu. Moreover, many of his ninjutsu are biased towards research and self-preservation, lacking the kind of decisive, destructive ultimate move. If fighting a war of attrition or plotting schemes, Orochimaru is invincible. But if it's a direct head-on confrontation, his burst power is at the bottom of the Sannin. The barrage area went quiet for a second. Fourth Reikage, A bottom. Orochimaru's head-on confrontation ability is the weakest among the Sannin. Madarumi, that makes sense. Orochimaru's strength really isn't in head-on combat, but in attrition and trickery. Otogekyur. Orochimaru watched the analysis of himself on the sky screen, the smile at the corners of his mouth receding slightly. The sky screen actually exposed the fact that his soul was shattered. Information leaked, huh? The sky screen text continued. Tsunade, the highest burst damage among the Sannin. Her super strength can even shatter a Susanoo. A clip flashed on the screen of Tsunade punching a blue Susanoo. That so-called absolute defense Susanoo was actually cracked by a single punch. The barrage area gasped. Fourth Reikage, she actually shattered that so-called absolute defense Susanoo with one punch. Madarumi, Tsunade's super strength, has it reached this point? The sky screen continued. Furthermore, her summoning Katsu can not only split infinitely but also spray strong acid. It is a true weapon of mass destruction. The screen showed Katsuyu splitting into countless small clones, covering the entire battlefield. Every small clone could spray strong acid, and wherever it went, even rocks were completely corroded. Tsunade's disadvantage lies in her singular attack methods. If she encounters an agile or long-range attrition-type opponent, she will have a hard time. The barrage area. Jiraiya. Tsunade's style is indeed simple and direct. Back in the day, Tsunade, Jiraiya, do you want to try my fist? Jiraiya, I'll shut up. Konoha Village. Tsunade looked at the analysis of herself on the sky screen. Highest burst, she accepted that. But the evaluation of singular attack methods made her a bit annoyed. What's wrong with being singular? If one punch can solve it, why use two? Shizen muttered quietly beside her. Lady Tsunade, but if you encounter an enemy, you can't hit. If I can't hit them, I'll just chase them down and hit them. The sky screen text continued. Jiraiya, the all-rounder. If Orochimaru represents trickery and Tsunade represents violence, then Jiraiya represents comprehensiveness. He is the only one among the Sannin who has truly mastered Sage Mode. Although the preparation time is long, once activated, his combat power undergoes a qualitative change. On the screen, Jiraiya in Sage Mode launched an attack. Sage Art, Gomen, a large-scale fire release combined with toad oil, covering the entire battlefield. The sky filled with flames and waves of boiling oil swept out, turning a radius of dozens of meters into purgatory. Toad Confrontation Chant, the strongest auditory Genjutsu. Two Toad sages emitted high-frequency sound waves simultaneously, the sound directly invading the opponent's brain. Inside the Genjutsu space, the opponent was trapped in a water prison, unable to move. Plus-value technique, summoning technique, Najutsu, Taijutsu. Jiraiya has almost no weaknesses. The barrage area exploded. Madarumi, Sage Art, Gomen, that range, that power, this is no longer the level of ordinary ninjutsu. Inoki, this guy Jiraiya, who writes erotic novels, is actually this strong. Konoha Village. Naruto looked at Jiraiya in sage mode on the sky screen, his eyes shining like light bulbs. Pervy Sage. You can actually use Sage mode. That fire is so amazing. That Jinjutsu is also amazing. Why have you never taught me? Jiraiya laughed heartily beside him, unable to hide the smugness on his face. What's the rush? I'll teach you when it's time. I know plenty of things, you brat. Take your time learning. The sky screen text continued. Let's talk about the Sannin summonings. Summonings are actually divided into different ranks. The screen cut in. The images of the 3 summonings appeared on the sky screen simultaneously. Manda, Gamabunta, Katsu. Manda, fierce and cruel by nature, requires 100 living human sacrifices every time it is summoned. Moreover, its loyalty is extremely low, and at a critical moment, it might even bite Orochimaru back. Mei Terumi, extremely low loyalty, and might even bite the master back. This isn't a summoning, it's a ticking time bomb. The sky screen continued. Gamabunta, although very strong and skilled in sword techniques, but it is ultimately a creature of flesh and blood with limited defense. It will bleed if bitten by Manda, and will be corroded if sprayed by Katsu's acid. The sky screen continued, and the most terrifying one is actually Katsu from Shikatsu Forest. It is almost invincible by definition. Physical attacks are ineffective against it. Its body is soft, impossible to cut or break. It can also split into countless small clones, each capable of acting independently. The range of the strong acid it sprays is large, and its lethality is high. Overall, the relationship between the Sannin is actually more like a closed loop. 3 names appeared on the screen, with arrows connecting them into a triangle. Orochimaru counters Tsunade, Tsunade counters Jiraiya, and Jiraiya completely counters Orochimaru. But if you have to choose the strongest one, then without a doubt, Jiraiya is definitely the strongest among the Sannin. 4th Reikage, a comprehensive sage mode with no weaknesses, plus Jinjutsu that naturally counters Orochimaru. It makes sense. Konoha Village. The smile on Jiraiya's face could no longer be contained. Ha ha! Did you see that? Did you see that? The strongest of the Sannin. It's me. Tsunade, do you accept it? Tsunade rolled her eyes. Accept your head. The sky screen is talking about comprehensive strength. It's not certain if we actually fought. Besides, your sage mode takes so long to prepare, I'd just punch you. Hearing this, Jiraiya, for once, wasn't grinning. His gaze turned serious for a moment. Fine, let's have a match someday. Odogaikure. Orochimaru looked at the conclusion of Jiraiya is the strongest on the sky screen and was silent for a long while. Then he laughed. Not a sinister laugh, but a laugh of relief. Looking at it this way, Jiraiya's comprehensive strength was indeed above his. However, he was still unconvinced because he knew Jiraiya had one fatal flaw. Orochimaru licked his lips, recalling things from decades ago. He is too kind. In the world of ninja, kindness is a luxury. The sky screen image switches. In Konoha Village, the Hyuga clan is known as the strongest clan. But the embarrassing reality is that while the Hyuga clan has a high floor, its ceiling is ridiculously low. Inside the Hyuga clan compound, Hayashi put down his teacup, his brows furrowing slightly. Are they starting to talk about the Hyuga clan now? Why does this opening not sound like anything good? The text on the sky screen began to scroll. There are many reasons for this result. First is the caged bird seal. This is definitely the Hyuga clan's greatest mistake. Hyuga clan compound. The members of the Hyuga main family frowned in unison, their hearts filled with dissatisfaction. The caged bird seal is a family rule that the Hyuga clan has maintained for hundreds of years. How could it be a mistake? The sky screen continued. To protect the Byakugan from being stolen by outsiders, the main family marks all branch family members with the caged bird seal. Once a branch family member dies or defects, the main family can directly destroy the Byakugan through the cursed seal. Odogaikure. Orochimaru looked at the image of the caged bird seal on the sky screen, his expression unchanged. The Hyuga's Byakugan. Honestly, I have no interest. But if I really wanted one, it wouldn't matter if it had the caged bird seal. I'd just take the Hyuga's genes and cultivate a synthetic human. The caged bird seal protects the eyeball, but it can't protect the genes. Sunagakure. Baki watched the analysis of the caged bird seal on the sky screen, lost in thought. Back when Sunagakure and Konoha were signing the peace treaty, a commotion arose precisely because Sunagakure tried to steal the Byakugan. If not for the caged bird seal. To be honest, the Byakugan is indeed useful. Which ninja village wouldn't want a pair? The text on the sky screen continued. But the rule of the caged bird seal is complete nonsense. If it were truly to protect the Byakugan from being stolen by outsiders, then why isn't everyone except the clan head marked? Why are there other main family members who don't have the curse seal? Madarumi. Wait, that actually seems to be the case. If the goal is to protect the Byakugan, then everyone except the clan head should be marked. That would be the safest way. Kankuro. Plainly speaking, this isn't a question of protecting the Byakugan at all. This is a means for the main family to control the branch family. Protecting the Byakugan is just an excuse. Hyuga clan compound. The faces of the Hyuga, main family members, turned dark collectively. With the sky screen putting it this way, they had no way to refute it. If it were solely to protect the Byakugan, everyone except the clan head should be marked, in which case the Byakugan would almost never be leaked. But if the clan head would die unexpectedly, the clan's dojutsu would still be exposed. The branch family area of the Hyuga clan compound. Several branch family members stood silently in the courtyard. They looked at each other, but said nothing. Members of the branch family are marked with the curse seal from a young age, controlled by the main family for their entire lives, their life and death, honor and disgrace, all tied to the other's whim. An elderly branch family member let out a long sigh. I was told from a young age that the mission of the branch family is to protect the main family. But sometimes I wonder, are we protecting our clansmen, or are we protecting a cage? The text on the sky screen continued. The cage bird seal not only restricts the personal freedom of the branch family, but it also physically blocks part of the Byakugan's abilities. This leads to a problem. The scene cuts in. Niji's figure appears on the sky screen. He activates his Byakugan, the caged bird seal on his forehead clearly visible. Even if a peerless genius like Niji appears in the branch family, his sealing is forcibly locked at the Jonin level. How can a genius who cannot even unlock a full field of vision compete with those powerhouses who each have their own exclusive trump cards? Konoha Village. Niji stood on the training ground, looking at his image on the sky screen, his lips twitching bitterly. The caged bird seal. From the day he was marked, he knew he would never be able to escape this shackle. No matter how hard he worked, or how outstanding his talent was, the branch family would always be the branch family. The main family only needed a single thought to make him suffer bone-deep pain. Whenever there is danger, the branch family must stand before the main family, protecting them with their lives. Before the main family's bloodline is severed, the members of the branch family are destined to die first. Fate. The text on the sky screen continued. This clan rule, which sacrifices overall combat power for the sake of controlling bloodlines, directly stifles 90% of the family's potential. No matter how high the talent of the branch family descendants is, they're ultimately subject to the main family's control. Over time, everyone will slowly lose the motivation to strive. Branch family descendants are born into the branch family, which means their children will also have to be marked with the caged bird seal when they come of age, trapped under the control of the main family for a lifetime. As time goes on, the members of the branch family are no longer willing to have children. They themselves are already bound, so why let the next generation repeat this life of slavery? The atmosphere in the comments section became heavy. Shizun, the children born to the branch family still belong to the branch family. No one would have the heart to let their child endure such suffering. Kuratsuchi. To put it bluntly, this is a system of slavery passed down through generations. Under such rules, it is perfectly normal for the branch family to be unwilling to reproduce. Ebisu. The Hyuga clan's population has been shrinking for decades. I could never understand the reason before, but now that the sky screen has pointed it out, everything is clear. Hyuga clan compound. The branch family area was deathly silent. A young branch family woman subconsciously touched her protruding abdomen. She was already pregnant. In a few months, the child would be born. According to family rules, the child would have to endure the pain of the caged bird seal at the age of 3. Before, she only thought this was a rule passed down through generations, something that was taken for granted. But after listening to the sky screen's analysis, she looked down at the child in her womb, her eyes slightly reddened. My child, must they also walk the same path as I do? Beside her, her husband gently held her hand. The two looked at each other in silence, their eyes filled with inescapable despair. The text on the sky screen continued. Secondly, the limitations of the gentle fist system. The scene cuts in. The sky screen displayed various gentle fist techniques of the Hyuga clan, with 8 trigrams palms and tenketsu striking being fully presented. The Hyuga clan's gentle fist is indeed a unique taijutsu specialty. Striking tenketsu to seal chakra meridians ignores conventional defenses, giving them the upper hand in battles with ordinary ninjas. But once it rises to the battlefield of Kage level or Super Kage level, the shortcomings of the gentle fist are exposed. The scene switches to a comparison shot. The Hyuga gentle fist against the Uchiha Susanoo, with punches and kicks having no effect on the sturdy armor. Rotation and 8 trigrams, 64 palms, are essentially only useful for close-range defense and close-range single-point control. When encountering enemies flying at high altitudes or opponents wearing Susanoo, the Hyuga clan has almost no means of response. Furthermore, there's a huge gap in the evolution path of dojutsu. Every advancement of the Sharingan is a qualitative change in all aspects. 1 tomo, 2 tomo, 3 tomo, Mangekyo, eternal Mangekyo. Ordinary Uchiha clansmen can reach the eternal level at highest. With every step of advancement, power undergoes a heaven-shaking surge. What about the Byakugan? The screen switches back and forth, first showing the entire process of the Sharingan's gradual advancement, with each stage accompanied by a drastic change in power. Then it cuts to the Byakugan, which has only one form from beginning to end. The difficulty of evolving the Byakugan is not on the same level as the Sharingan. Hyuga clan compound. Hayashi stood up abruptly, his tone unable to hide his shock. The Byakugan can actually evolve? Could the sky screen's words imply that there is a way for the Byakugan to evolve into a higher level form? The Hyuga clan has been passed down for thousands of years, and although there have been fragments of information about Byakugan evolution in the records, after so many years, everyone just treated it as a legend. If it could really evolve. Thinking of this, Hayashi's breathing couldn't help but quicken. Meitarumi. Wait, the sky screen says the Byakugan can evolve? What are the conditions for evolution? And what kind of dojutsu will it become? Senju Tobarama. I spent my whole life studying various dojutsu. The progression of the Sharingan is clear and obvious, but the Byakugan, I have never heard of it having an evolution. The text on the sky screen continued. Let's talk about the awkwardness of the Byakugan on the battlefield. The Byakugan's field of vision can cover a range of 10 kilometers, but the attack range of the gentle fist is limited to the close-range area that the arms can reach. A very ironic scene appeared. A Hyuga clansman relies on the Byakugan to see an enemy 10 kilometers away, but can only sprint all the way to the opponent's front to use gentle fist to attack. Uchiha Setsuna. Ha! The Hyuga gentle fist is simply ridiculous on the battlefield. With this, they dare to call themselves the strongest clan in Konoha, to be on par with my Uchiha. Uchiha Fugaku. The text on the sky screen continued. However, on the battlefield, the Hyuga clan is not just for reconnaissance. The Byakugan can clearly see through the entire body's meridian system, and practicing gentle fist requires extremely precise chakra control. With the two traits superimposed, the Hyuga are naturally the material for top-tier medical ninjas. The scene cuts to a hypothetical scenario. A Hyuga clansman activates the Byakugan, clearly seeing through the injured person's damaged internal organs and broken meridians, then uses delicate and controllable chakra to directly repair the injuries, with treatment efficiency several times higher than ordinary medical ninjas. But the Hyuga clan clings to old traditions and is unwilling to delve into any field other than gentle fist and reconnaissance. They waste their unique medical talent, and in the end, they are only reduced to simple battlefield scouts. Everyone in the comments section suddenly realized, Tsunade, wonderful. I had never thought of this point before. The Hyuga clan is naturally suited for medical ninjutsu. If they concentrated on studying it, they could definitely build the #1 medical unit in the ninja world. Shizune, Lady Tsunade is right. If the Hyuga were willing to study medical ninjutsu, their efficiency in treating the wounded would be unmatched. Hyuga clan compound. Hayashi sat down quietly, remaining silent for a long time. Every flaw pointed out by the sky screen accurately hit the root of the Hyuga clan's problems. The cage bird seal shackles the talent of the branch family. Gentle fist is difficult to gain a foothold in high-end duels. The clan has not known for generations that the Byakugan still has an evolution path. Their innate medical talent is wasted. The ultra-long-range vision of 10 kilometers is paired with moves that can only be used at close quarters. Hayashi slowly closed his eyes, his heart filled with exhaustion. The Hyuga clan. It's not that he hasn't thought about change, but old customs that have lasted for hundreds of years are not something that can be changed just by saying so. After finishing the discussion on the Hyuga system, we must talk about one person. Hyuga Hinata, Konoha village. Hinata was stunned for a moment. Her? Hyuga clan grounds. Hayashi Hyuga's gaze flickered slightly. The sky screen continued. As everyone knows, when Hinata was young, she found it difficult to accept the clan's cruel regulations, so she voluntarily gave up the clan's training and left the opportunity to her sister, Hanabi. The scene cut in. Young Hinata stood on the training ground, head bowed. Opposite her was her sister, Hanabi. The two had just finished a sparring match. Hinata lost. It wasn't because she lacked strength. It was because she couldn't bring herself to strike. From that moment on, it represented her voluntary choice for her lineage to become the Hyuga branch family. Shikaku Nara. According to the Hyuga clan rules, the main house only consists of the head's family. Hinata, giving up her right of inheritance, was equivalent to placing herself into the branch family. Ino Yamanaka, then her children. The sky screen text continued. According to the Hyuga clan rules, Hinata, as well as her children Baruto and Himawari Uzumaki, should theoretically all be branded with the caged bird seal. It is not just Hinata and the children. Because Hinata is from the main house, in order to prevent the leakage of clan secrets, Naruto, too, must be branded with the caged bird seal. Silence. The entire ninja world was silent for 3 seconds. Fourth Reikage, the sky screen just said this guy is the 7th Hokage. Does the Hyuga clan dare to brand the Hokage with the caged bird seal? Mei Terumi, branding the Hokage with a curse mark. Does the Hyuga clan want to betray the village or be wiped out? Hyuga clan grounds. The people of the Hyuga main house were collectively stunned. Brand the Hokage with the caged bird seal? Are you kidding me? Do they dare? Let alone doing it, even if the thought crossed their minds. It would count as betraying the village. The sky screen text switched. However, reality is quite the opposite. Hinata, the children, and Naruto were never branded with the caged bird seal. And there are many factors leading to this situation. First, Hayashi Hyuga intended to change the old system of the Hyuga clan. Second, the war ended, and the ninja world is at peace. The risk of the Byakugan being stolen has been greatly reduced. Third, and also the most important reason, Naruto promised Neji during the Chunin exams back then, if he ever became Hokage, he would definitely change his fate and resolve the issues between the Hyuga main house and the branch family. And what is Naruto's ninja way? To do what he says. If the Hyuga clan wants to go against Naruto's will, then Uncle Naruto will have to demonstrate what the strongest in the world is. The sky screen text switched, and the tone suddenly became subtle. In other words, if the Hyuga main house really had the idea of branding someone with the caged bird seal, Then Uncle Naruto would directly summon the nine-tailed beasts and bombard the Hyuga clan one by one. Fourth Reikage A. Nine-tailed beasts. Naruto can summon the nine-tailed beasts. Meitarumi. Wait a second. Does the sky screen mean Naruto can command all the tailed beasts? The sky screen text continued, and the style began to become outrageous. Naruto. I asked the six-path sage for permission. That day, he gave me the nine-tailed beasts. If the next nine-tailed beast balls misfire, then I will do it myself. Rasengan. Rasengan Barrage. Multirasengan. Big Ball Rasengan. Big Ball Rasengan Barrage. Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. Ultra Big Ball Rasengan Barrage. The question marks in the comment section began to fill the screen. Fourth Reikage, wait. There are so many variants of the Rasengan. Meitarumi. Why do I feel like this is just an appetizer? The sky screen text continued, unable to stop at all. Sage Art. Rasengan. Sage Art. Rasengan Barrage. Sage Art. Ultra Big Ball Rasengan. Wind Release. Raisin Shuriken. Mini Raisin Shuriken. Sage Art. Raisin Shuriken. Tailed Beast Ball. Tailed Beast Rasengan. Multiple Tailed Beast Raisin Shuriken. Six Paths Tailed Beast Rasengan. Six Paths Multiple Tailed Beast Raisin Shuriken. Sage Art. Yin-Yang Release Ultra Big Ball Raisin Shuriken. Sage Art. Super Tailed Beast Raisin Shuriken. In the scene, the entire sky was filled with the names of Rasengans. Dense and layered. Fourth Reikage A. Magtirum. Anoki. Jiraiya. Haha. As expected of my disciple, he can come up with so many variations of the Rasengan. Konoha Village. Naruto looked at the scene on the sky screen where he was surrounded by Rasengans, and he was completely stunned. So many Rasengans? When did I learn so many moves? And the names are too long. Sage Art. Yin-Yang Release Ultra Big Ball Raisin Shuriken. The enemy would be old by the time I finished saying this name. The sky screen text switched, of course, if it is inconvenient for Naruto as Hokage to take action. His good buddy Sasuke would also be happy to cosplay his brother on a utility pole. The scene cut in. Sasuke crouched on a utility pole at the entrance of the Hyuga clan grounds. He looked down at the Hyuga clan, his heart filled with emotions. Oh, Nissan, so this is how it feels to crouch on a street lamp in the middle of the night, blowing in the night breeze, overlooking a family intending to rebel like an eagle. Fourth Reikage, is this a reenactment of the Uchiha Massacre night? Anoki. Itachi wiped out the Uchiha clan, and if Sasuke wipes out the Hyuga clan, are these brothers obsessed with wiping out clans? The sky screen image shifted. Why does the Uchiha clan not have the caged bird seal? Silence. Then, the people in the Uchiha clan compound were collectively stunned. What? Kaket Pitzel. Card on them? The text on the sky screen began to scroll. As fellow prestigious clans of Konoha, the Hyuga believe that without control, there will be chaos. Yet, controlling the Uchiha is the greatest source of chaos itself. Senju Tobarama. I agree with this statement. The Uchiha clan experiences extreme emotional fluctuations. Any external means of force control could trigger uncontrollable consequences. Meitarumi. The Hyuga use the cage bird seal to control the branch family, because the branch family won't go on a rampage when controlled. But the Uchiha The sky screen continued. The essence of the cage bird seal is the clan using physical means to lock the branch family. It ensures the branch family remains forever submissive to the main family, ensuring the power of the Byakugan never spirals out of control due to the ambition of some branch family member, leading to internal strife. Sounds reasonable, right? Protecting the bloodline, maintaining order, avoiding infighting. For it to have been passed down for so many years within the Hyuga, it does have a certain degree of rationality. But if you were to place the cage bird seal on the Uchiha, let alone implement it, whoever dared to even mention it, the Uchiha would cut them down on the spot. Barrage area. Fourth Reikage that is very Uchiha. Jiraiya. I've dealt with the Uchiha quite a bit, and their tempers are indeed. If you dare to restrict their freedom, Their first reaction isn't obedience, but drawing their blades. Kuratsuchi. When a Hyuga branch family is branded with the caged bird seal, the most they can do is accept their fate. If the Uchiha were branded with the caged bird seal, accept their fate? I'm afraid they'd start a massacre immediately, right? Uchiha clan compound. Several Uchiha clansmen watched the sky screen, the corners of their mouths twitching involuntarily. Although the sky screen was exaggerating a bit, but it seemed to be exactly like that. The people of the Uchiha couldn't stand being pushed around deep down in their bones. The text on the sky screen continued, because the core driving logic of the Uchiha clan is completely opposite to that of the Hyuga. What does the Sharingan evolve? It is emotional fluctuation. It is pain. It is anger. It is the extreme breakdown of losing a loved one. You carve a cursed seal on the head of an Uchiha clansman and tell him, this is as far as you'll go in this life. Your life and death depend entirely on the mood of the main family. If they want to torture you, they'll torture you. If they want you to be a punching bag, you'll be a punching bag. Hyuga clan compound. The people in the branch family area watched this passage on the sky screen and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Although the sky screen was a bit outrageous, the attitude some main family members had toward their branch family was indeed like that. If they wanted you to kneel, you had to kneel. If they wanted you to be a shield, you had to be a shield. Life, death, honor, and disgrace all depended on a single word from the main family. The text on the sky screen continued. So, what will be the result if they really dare to carve it? The image shifted. An Uchiha clansman was pressed to the ground by the main family, with the caged bird seal carved on his forehead. When the Uchiha realized what this represented, that his future descendants would also be slaves for life, his eyes transformed from ordinary black pupils into a single tomo. 2 tomo. 3 tomo. Those with a more fragile heart might even awaken the Mangekyo directly. The sky screen continued. For the Uchiha, the caged bird seal is not a means of control. It is an assembly line for mass-producing the Mangekyo. The barrage area completely lost it. Senju Tobarama. I once studied the awakening of the Uchiha clan. The awakening of the Mangekyo Sharingan requires extreme mental stimulation. The pain of the caged bird seal could indeed trigger this condition. Hiruzen Surtobi. So, the caged bird seal not only fails to control the Uchiha, but would instead cause them to collectively awaken the Mangekyo. Senju Tobarama. Theoretically speaking, yes. Fourth Reikage, then, if the entire Uchiha clan awakened the Mangekyo. The barrage area fell into collective silence. No one dared to imagine that scene. The text on the sky screen continued. The more you suppress them, the stronger they get. The stronger they get, the less you can suppress them. Moreover, the Uchiha clan possesses something the Hyuga never will. The crazier they get, the stronger they become. Do you expect to control a madman with a cursed seal? Using this tactic on the Hyuga is maintaining stability. Using it on the Uchiha is courting death. And bringing this set of Hyuga methods to the Uchiha is mass-producing Uchiha Itachi. Everyone thought about it. Uchiha Itachi was able to slaughter the clan without being oppressed. If the Uchiha were oppressed, wouldn't that be even worse? Moreover, the Sharingan is different from the Byakugan. The image cut in. On the left was the image of the Byakugan, and on the right was the image of the Sharingan. The sky screen made a split-screen comparison. The Byakugan is innate. People of the Hyuga clan possess the Byakugan from the moment they are born. The Hyuga clan only needs to practice the gentle fist from a young age and learn to channel chakra to the eyes. Subsequently, by repeatedly practicing the mobilization of ocular chakra, they can activate it. However, the Sharingan is acquired. When people of the Uchiha clan are born, their eyes are no different from ordinary people. The activation of the Sharingan requires intense emotional stimulation. Losing a loved one, witnessing the death of a best friend, experiencing extreme pain. And because the threshold for activating the Byakugan is too low compared to the Sharingan, the sky screen image shifted. So, It is understandable why the Byakugan would be fought over by other ninja villages. Not only is it abundant, but there is also no risk in stealing it. Then why haven't so many people tried to steal the Sharingan? People in the barrage area started to think. Kankuro, think about it carefully. The remaining survivors of the Uchiha now seem to be just Itachi, Obito, and Sasuke, right? Make Terumi steal the Sharingan of the first two? That person probably wants to die. Fourth Reikage steals Sasuke's Sharingan? Come on, his older brother isn't dead yet. Akatsuki organization base. Itachi leaned against the wall, his eyes turning fierce. Steal Sasuke's Sharingan? Deidara muttered from the side. Itachi, what's with that look? Nothing. The text on the sky screen began to scroll. First, the strategic value of the Byakugan far exceeds that of the Sharingan. The core ability of a Sharingan lies in combat enhancement, while the Byakugan is the pinnacle of battlefield reconnaissance. The scene cut in, a split-screen comparison. On the left, a member of the Uchiha clan activates the Sharingan, dueling an enemy on the battlefield, using Jinjutsu, Taijutsu, and Ninjutsu in turn. On the right, a member of the Hyuga clan activates the Byakugan, standing at a high vantage point, with the enemy troop deployments within a radius of several kilometers clearly visible. The omnidirectional X-ray vision capability, reaching several kilometers, can serve as a strategic surveillance radar. Insight into enemy movements and layouts in advance greatly enhances the overall combat effectiveness of ninja units. It holds significant strategic importance for the entire ninja village. In terms of insight alone, the Byakugan is superior to the Sharingan. Kumogakure. Reikage nodded. Indeed, the role of the Byakugan in war is decisive. That is why Kumogakure spared no cost back then to obtain a pair of Byakugan. Whoever knows where the opponent is, how many people they have, and when they will move first, has already won more than half the battle. The text on the sky screen continued. Secondly, the difficulty of obtaining the Byakugan is far lower than that of the Sharingan. The scene cut in. The scene of a Sharingan awakening flashed by, an Uchiha clan member kneeling before a comrade's corpse, trembling in agony, with the tomo slowly appearing in their eyes. The conditions for awakening the Sharingan are extremely harsh. It requires an Uchiha clan member to experience intense emotional stimulation to activate it. Not to mention the Mangekyo. Even ninjas possessing the three tomo are a minority. However, the number of people who awaken the Byakugan within the Hyuga clan is relatively high. It does not require any extreme stimulation. One only needs to practice the gentle fist and stimulate the chakra around the eyes. Iwagakure. Anoki stroked his chin. One requires experiencing the pain of life and death to awaken, while the other is almost innate. The gap in difficulty of acquisition is indeed too large. If you want to acquire dojutsu in bulk, you definitely choose the Byakugan. The sky screen continued. Furthermore, even if an outsider transplants a Sharingan, not only is it difficult to unleash its full power, but they also face the risk of excessive chakra consumption. The scene flashed to Kakashi Hitaki's battle. His left eye, Obito's Sharingan, could never be closed. Chakra was constantly draining away. Because the Sharingan is not the original, it cannot be closed. The Sharingan consumes chakra every moment. This greatly limits a ninja's potential. Konoha Village. Might Guy had a sudden realization. No wonder Kakashi always looks so weak. It turns out the Sharingan is constantly draining his chakra. Asuma smoked a cigarette on the side. I always thought it was because Kakashi stayed up too late reading. It seems it wasn't because of his handiwork that he's so weak after all. On the other side, Kakashi Hitaki subconsciously touched his left eye. Indeed, this eye could not be closed, and chakra was constantly leaking away. This was also why he was always tired and always running out of chakra. If Obito were willing to return, if you're no longer a rogue ninja, Kakashi Hitaki fell silent for a moment. He must return this eye to Obito. The text on the sky screen continued, but the Byakugan is different. Transplantation is relatively simple and does not require a complex development process like the Sharingan. Furthermore, the Byakugan does not have the problem of excessive consumption. Low difficulty of acquisition, low risk of transplantation, and high strategic value. This is why other hidden villages want the Byakugan, not the Sharingan. The text on the sky screen flickered twice. The discussion about dojutsu ended abruptly, and a new line of text appeared. Here's a piece of trivia. Before Killer Bee became a Jinchuriki, the villagers had already started isolating him. The entire ninja world went silent for a second. Datara, there's an even bigger expert. Haiden, did I see that right? Are the villagers of Kumogakure even better at bullying than those in Konoha? Meitarumi, isn't Kumogakure supposed to be united as one? Why are they also engaging in this isolation tactic? The text on the sky screen continued to scroll, but I have to say, Killer Bee's mental fortitude is truly strong. Naruto couldn't stand the loneliness and cause trouble in the village all day just to get some attention and establish some connection with others. If Iruka hadn't passed the will of fire to him and helped him set the goal of becoming Hokage, Naruto would have become the #1 demon child of the ninja world long ago. Konoha Village. Naruto scratched his hair and turned to look in the direction of the Ninja Academy. What the heck is a demon child? Can you say something I can understand? Kakashi Itachi had one hand in his pocket, his gaze sweeping over Naruto's puzzled face. This kid was indeed rowdy back then, graffitiing the Hokage rock every day purely to get people to look at him more. And because Gaara had no one to guide him, he was bullied to the point where he could only kill all day long. Kankuro, the sky screen is being too blunt, isn't it? The text on the sky screen changed abruptly. But Killer Bee is on a completely different path from them. Similarly ostracized by the villagers, similarly isolated by the whole village, he simply turned a blind eye and didn't care at all, stubbornly isolating everyone else all by himself. The comments section exploded instantly. Anoki, isolating the entire village all by himself? How is this kid's brain wired? Baki, our Sunagakure Jinchuriki was driven insane, while the Kumogakure Jinchuriki drove the whole village insane? Uzumaki Naruto, you can do that. Why didn't I think of that back then? Uchiha Sasuke, idiot, you can't learn that. The image on the sky screen lit up. And the reason Killer Bee was bullied is also very simple. Next, I will tell you a story about a Jinchuriki who loves rap. You're a villager of Kumogakure. You don't know what a tailed beast is, and you don't know that this Jinchuriki who often raps outside is the current Jinchuriki. In the scene, the night is deep, and the streets of the hidden cloud village are deserted. The villagers, having worked all day, have just laid down, and the lights in their houses are extinguished. Suddenly, an incredibly penetrating and strange tone blasts through the street. Fool, ja fool, yours truly is Killer Bee. Yeah, Killer Bee, wearing sunglasses, dances wildly under the streetlight. But just as you return home, exhausted from working hard all day, finally lying down in bed, there's that guy wailing like a banshee in the middle of the street. In the scene, the windows of the houses on both sides are pushed open one after another. A villager with dark circles under his eyes sticks half his body out, pointing downwards and cursing. What are you singing in the middle of the night? Can't you let people sleep? You lunatic. Another villager hits the windowsill with a broom. Go sing somewhere else. We have to get up early for work tomorrow. Killer Bee stops his movements and looks up at the surrounding windows. Not only does he not back down, he clears his throat. You bunch of fools, you don't understand the romance of yours truly. Dancing is better than sleeping. Come feel the carnival of this rhythm. Fool. Ja fool. Yeah. Killer Bee twists his body while outputting crazily to the villagers upstairs, using extremely fast speech mixed with rhyming words. The villagers upstairs point at Killer Bee, open their mouths, but can't utter a single word for a long time. Akatsuki, ha ha ha. They can't out-argue him. The villager's face has turned green from holding it in. Kuratsuchi, in the middle of the night, who wouldn't go crazy. The hidden cloud villagers have such good tempers, they didn't even go down to beat him up. Suigetsu Hozuki. Beat him up? He's a Jinchuriki, Could the villagers even win? Chio, I've lived for so many years, and this is the first time I've seen villagers get shut down in front of a Jinchuriki. Raza, this killer bee, is truly a weirdo. The sky screen text scrolls again. If that were all, it would be fine, but at a friend's funeral, that damn guy is still there rapping. The entire shinobi world goes silent for 2 seconds. Senju Tobarama, rapping at a funeral? Is this brat crazy? Hiruzen Sarutobi, this is truly against all reason. The sky screen scene cuts in. It is drizzling. In front of a graveyard, dozens of hidden cloud villagers are wearing mourning clothes, heads bowed, the atmosphere solemn and grave. Just at this heartbreaking moment, a discordant note forcibly tears through the silence. Yo! Killer bee, wearing sunglasses, struts out from behind the crowd. He holds a bouquet of white flowers, his footsteps keeping a strange beat. The villagers turn their heads one after another, glaring at this uninvited guest. Killer bee completely ignores the murderous gazes around him, walks straight to the tombstone, throws the flowers down, and strikes an extremely exaggerated pose. Supreme honor, title of the 8 Tails, so I offer you incense, oh yeah. As the last word falls, Killer bee even spins in place, pointing one hand to the sky. The villagers in the scene are all frozen. The villager kneeling on the ground even forgets to cry, staring blankly at Killer bee twisting his body in front of the tombstone. Hide and damn. Awesome. Deidara. This is pure suicide, right? Graveside dancing. Mei Terumi. This is simply rubbing the villager's bottom line into the dirt. Kakuzu. If this brat were in the black market, the bounty on his head would definitely double. He has too many enemies. The sky screen flashes suddenly, cutting to a peculiar perspective. Inside a dim mental space, the giant 8 Tails lies on the water surface, its 8 octopus tentacles drooping powerlessly. Its 2 bull eyes are staring fixedly ahead. In front, Killer bee's consciousness is twisting wildly. Joe, 8 Tails, follow yours truly's rhythm and sway together. The 8 Tails closes its eyes, its huge body trembling slightly. B, can you please shut up? Yours truly's vocabulary is endless, just as vast as this chakra. Yeah. The 8 Tails lifts a tentacle and slams it heavily onto the water surface, splashing water everywhere. Killer bee completely ignores the 8 Tails' protest and continues to rap to himself. The 8 Tails is numb. Heaven knows how this brat is so bizarre. Konoha Village. Naruto looks at the scene of the 8 Tails breakdown on the sky screen, then bows his head to look at his own stomach. Inside the ceiling space, the giant 9-tailed lies in the cage, wanting only to laugh wildly at the 8 Tails' plight. Compared to that dark-skinned guy who raps every day, this blonde brat who only knows how to yell seems not so annoying after all. The image on the sky screen gradually darkens, then switches, and a new line of large text appears. Is Old Man Ichiraku's real name Akatsuki Ichiraku? Konoha Village. The villagers on the street look at each other, their expressions changing from confusion to bewilderment. Ichiraku? Just that ramen seller. What's there to talk about regarding that uncle who sells ramen? And what is Akatsuki? It sounds pretty impressive, but what does that have to do with the ramen seller? Hokage building. The pipe in Hiruzen Sarutobi's hand almost drops to the floor. Akatsuki. Ichiraku. Hiruzen mutters this name, his brows knitting together. He has never seen the surname Akatsuki in any classics or literature, but his intuition tells him that anyone who can be linked to this mysterious surname is definitely not simple. Jiraiya puts away his grinning face, becoming serious for once. Old man, did you notice? The sky screen used the words real name. In other words, Tuchi Ichiraku might not be his real name. Hiruzen takes a deep puff of his pipe. Amidst the swirling smoke, his eyes become profound. Ichiraku has been running his ramen shop in Konoha for decades. He's been there since Kakashi was just a kid. Thinking about it carefully, I actually know nothing about his past. Land of Rain. Nagato sits in his wheelchair, his Rinnegan contracting slightly. Akatsuki. This surname gives him an inexplicable sense of familiarity, but he cannot explain where this feeling comes from. The sky screen text begins to scroll. First of all, in the special environment of Konoha village, old man Ichiraku forms a stark contrast with everyone else. The entire shinobi world's attention is instantly pulled back. The sky screen lights up. The streets of Konoha village, with bustling crowds weaving through them. Vegetable vendors are haggling, ninjas are darting across rooftops, and children are chasing and playing in the streets. A seemingly peaceful scene, yet the camera slowly pushes towards several dark corners. When in Konoha village, which is rife with bullying culture, everyone picks on each other's minor flaws to ridicule them. In the scene, a few villagers pass by an elderly man dressed in plain clothes, sneering in low voices. Look at that old man. He got his teammates killed when he was young, and he's still just a genin. On the other side, a few students from the ninja academy point at a slightly chubby classmate. People from the Akimichi clan only know how to eat. Besides eating, what else can they do? At the street corner, a few housewives gather together, whispering. Look at that family's kid. He's already in his teens and only knows the clone jutsu. I guess he's destined to be a genin for the rest of his life. The scene shifts. Inside the small Ichiraku ramen shop, steam billowed. Old man Ichiraku stood behind the counter, wearing his signature white apron, his hands skillfully pulling noodles. A gentle smile was always on his face, whether he was facing an elite wearing a jonin vest or a little brat who had just enrolled in the academy. A down-and-out ninja wearing shabby clothes walked into the shop, keeping his head down as if afraid of being seen. Old man Ichiraku looked up, his smile unchanged. Welcome. I've saved your usual spot. The usual? The down-and-out ninja paused for a moment, his eyes slightly reddening. Yeah, the usual. Under the sky screen. The atmosphere across the entire shinobi world changed instantly. Hidden Cloud Village. The fourth Reikage A's expression turned uncharacteristically serious. A ramen seller, in an environment where the whole village are bullies, could manage not to follow the trend even once. His mental fortitude is that strong. The Wagakure. Anoki stroked his chin, lost in thought. Someone who could remain untainted in the atmosphere of Konoha, where everyone is a villain. The text on the sky screen continued. Besides that, his attitude toward Naruto was completely opposite to everyone else's. In the scene, a young Naruto walked alone on the streets of Konoha. The villagers on both sides saw him and avoided him, as if he were a plague god. Naruto kept his head down, hands in his pockets, pretending not to care. But his steps grew slower and slower, his shoulders heavier and heavier. Later, Naruto passed a candied hawthorn stall, his eyes lighting up. He felt his pocket and pulled out a few crumpled coins. When the stall owner saw it was Naruto, his expression changed, and he immediately hid the candied hawthorns behind his back. Not for sale. Naruto opened his mouth, wanting to say something, but in the end, he said nothing and silently turned to leave. The scene on the sky screen shifted. The Ichiraku ramen shop. A young Naruto pushed aside the door curtain, carefully poking half his head inside. His eyes were probing, as if he were ready to be kicked out at any moment. Old man Ichiraku looked up, and seeing it was Naruto, his smile was brighter than ever. A customer. Come, sit here. Not only did he not show an expression of disgust like others, but he even took the initiative to pull out a stool and invite Naruto to sit. Naruto paused for a moment, then slowly sat down. Old man Ichiraku turned around to start cooking the noodles, speaking without looking back as he cooked. What do you want to eat today? Miso chashu or salt-flavored tonkatsu? Naruto looked down at the few coins left in his pocket, his voice fading. I only have this much. Old man Ichiraku turned around, glanced at the change in Naruto's hand, and laughed heartily. We're having a promotion today. Tasting for new dishes, it's free. Help me taste it. Consider it doing me a favor. Naruto's eyes lit up instantly. Really? Old man Ichiraku, you're the best. A steaming bowl of ramen was placed on the table. Afterward, Naruto buried his head and ate furiously. Old man Ichiraku stood behind the counter, Watching Naruto wolf down the food, the smile lines at the corners of his eyes deepening. A villager from another village. A free promotion for tasting. That reason is just too kind. Konoha Villager D. Wait, how come I remember Ichiraka Ramen never having any new dish tasting promotions? Karatsuchi. This old man really knows how to treat people. He helped Naruto without hurting his self-esteem. The text on the sky screen continued. Besides occasionally treating Naruto to free Ichiraka Ramen, he would also encourage Naruto from time to time to move toward his goal of becoming Hokage. Konoha Village. Naruto's tears could no longer be stopped. He squatted on the ground, covering his face with his hands, his shoulders shaking. Old man Ichiraka. The text on the sky screen suddenly changed tone. Besides all this, the ramen he makes by hand is also quite extraordinary. The entire shinobi world was stunned. Ramen? What could be extraordinary about ramen? Konoha Village. A chunin who often ate at Ichiraka Ramen scratched his head. It's delicious, sure, but it's just a bowl of ordinary ramen, right? Noodles, soup base, chashu seaweed. I don't see anything special. Another ninja nearby chimed in. Exactly. It's not like I haven't eaten ramen from other places. Ichiraka's taste is indeed good, but it's not to an outrageous degree. Humobikure. A frown, his intuition telling him that what the sky screen said next would subvert common knowledge. Extraordinary ramen. It couldn't possibly be a variant of military rations, could it? The sky screen lit up. The day before Ninja Academy graduation. In the scene, because Naruto was caught by Iruka for painting the Hokage rock, Iruka subsequently brought him to the Ichiraku ramen shop. The scene accelerated. Because Naruto failed the exam during graduation, that night, under the inducement of Mizuki, Naruto stole the Forbidden Scroll. Stimulated by Iruka almost being killed, he successfully learned the multiple shadow clone jutsu in an extremely short amount of time. Entire shinobi world. Gaara. Nara Shikamaru. Isn't this too coincidental? But can such unrelated things be pieced together? An anonymous jonin, multiple shadow clone jutsu, is an A-rank forbidden jutsu. This is a jutsu that even jonin might not be able to learn. The sky screen continued. Chunin exams, the night before the battle against Hyuga. In the scene, the Ichiraku ramen shop. Naruto sat in his usual spot, with a bowl of Ichiraku ramen in front of him that was different from usual. The soup base was darker, the noodles were thicker, the chashu on top was noticeably thicker, and there were some side dishes Naruto couldn't name. Old man Ichiraku said with a smile, "You have an important match tomorrow, right? This bowl is a special version to give you a boost." Naruto didn't stand on ceremony and began to eat heartily. Old man Ichiraku, you always make me delicious food. When I become Hokage, I will definitely award you the Konoha Best Ramen Award. Old man Ichiraka laughed heartily. Then I'll be waiting for it. The scene switched. Chunin exams arena. Hyuga, a genius youth, Byakugan fully activated, gentle fist impenetrable. Everyone thought this duel had no suspense. However, Naruto withstood Niji's 64 palms. In a situation where his chakra was sealed, he stood up relying on pure physical strength and willpower. Finally, using a sneak attack from underground, he completely pierced through Niji's defense. The genius youth fell on the arena floor. Rockly this, huh? Hyuga Niji. Maitirum. A bowl of ramen can let a dead last defeat a genius? Haiden. Holy crap. What kind of ingredients were added to this ramen? The sky screen switched again. Afterward, Naruto followed Jiraiya out for training and returned to the village 2.5 years later. Before the mission started, he ate a bowl of ramen, and sure enough, Naruto once again performed a miracle. Not only did he successfully pass Uchiha Itachi's test, but he also defeated his Shoten clone. The entire shinobi world fell silent. If once is a coincidence, and twice is luck, then what about 3 times? The sky screen text begins to scroll. Let's talk about another trivial matter. Just before the 4th Shinobi World War was about to begin, Old Man Ichiraku prepared a special bowl of ramen for Naruto once again. And it was this very bowl of ramen that allowed Naruto to hold out until the end of the war. Hidden Cloud Village. I had stood up from his chair, I don't know how many times already. A bowl of ramen gets you through a war. Are you kidding me? The Ninja World War should at least last 2 or 3 years, right? Can the stamina from a bowl of ramen last that long? Konoha Village. The villagers on the street were completely bewildered. I've been eating Ichiraku ramen for 20 years. How come I've never felt anything special? Is there a possibility that old man Ichiraku only makes special ramen for specific people? Like Naruto? The person next to him turned pale. You mean Ichiraku has been secretly training that fox spirit? In front of the Ichiraku ramen shop. At this moment, old man Ichiraku was standing behind the counter, wearing a white apron, holding a rolling pin, and kneading dough with a smile on his face. He looked at the sky screen, then at the rolling pin in his hand. I'm just a ramen seller. The sky screen text changed again. Following that, it can be seen from other aspects that old man Ichiraku is definitely not simple. For example, there was a time when Naruto and Choji were peeking at old man Ichiraku making ramen. The sky screen image lit up. Night. On the roof of the Ichiraku ramen shop. Naruto and Choji were lying behind the roof tiles, sticking half their heads out, secretly looking down. Naruto, do you think old man Ichiraku is making new ramen? Choji asked the Naruto next to him while whispering, smelling the new soup base, and drooling. Naruto didn't respond, but stared straight at the ramen below. The two thought they were well hidden. After all, Naruto had already passed the Chunin exams, and Choji was also a proper Chunin. How could an ordinary civilian possibly detect the stealth techniques of two Chunin? However, just when Naruto and Choji thought everything was safe, old man Ichiraku's hands suddenly stopped. He didn't turn back. His body had no unnecessary movements. He just gripped the rolling pin on the counter extremely naturally with his right hand. The next second, swoosh, bang, bang. Two muffled sounds. Naruto and Choji didn't even have time to react before they were scared off the roof by the rolling pin. The screen froze. The entire shinobi world fell silent again. Kakashi Hitaki, Naruto and Choji are ninjas after all. Even if they are careless, they shouldn't be like this. Shikamu, an ordinary person with sensory abilities that surpass a Chunin. This is too unreasonable. Iwagakure. Inoki stroked his chin and pondered. No, this matter is indeed a bit suspicious. But another possibility cannot be ruled out. What if these two made a sound? After all, with that little fatty's build, it would be strange if the roof tiles didn't make a sound while lying on them. Kuratsuchi and Kitsuchi next to him nodded in agreement upon hearing this. They also felt it was a bit unreasonable. This wave is truly a bit far-fetched. What if an old man just heard the sound they made? Exactly, the tiles on the roof made a sound. An ordinary person could also notice it. The sky screen text flickered, and new text appeared. Following that, other major events are no exception. Old man Ichiraku is always able to easily avoid various disasters. The sky screen image lit up. Konoha Village Night. The sky was dyed blood red. Ninjas and residents were screaming and fleeing in the ruins. Umbu ninjas fought to the death, but were swept away by the tail of the nine-tailed. The entire Konoha village suffered countless casualties, and more than half of the buildings were destroyed. The camera moved slowly, passing through the devastated streets, through collapsed buildings and burning flames. Finally, the lens stopped in front of an intact building. Ichiraku Ramen. The small ramen shop stood intact amidst the ruins all around. There wasn't a single crack, not a single tile had fallen. Even the warm curtain at the door hung neatly, not ruffled in the slightest by the strong wind. Entire shinobi world. Konoha villager. The whole village was half destroyed, but his ramen shop is fine. The sky screen text continued to scroll. This is not the end. Then pain invaded Konoha and released Shinra Tensei. At this time, Konoha had become a deep pit, and all buildings were destroyed in one fell swoop. And without anyone helping him, old man Ichiraku was the first person to rebuild the house in the ruins. In the screen, Konoha village ruins. All ninjas and civilians were busy clearing the debris, their faces full of the exhaustion of surviving a disaster. And the door of old man Ichiraku's ramen shop had already reopened for business. So it is reasonable to suspect that the Ichiraku ramen shop was actually not destroyed by pain at all. It was Ichiraku who used genjutsu to make everyone think the ramen shop was destroyed and then rebuilt it. The crowd under the sky screen became spirited upon seeing this. Konoha village. The villagers on the street looked at the sky screen and fell into complete chaos. Ichiraku is actually a hidden master? No. I think old man Ichiraku is just an ordinary ramen seller. The sky screen is over-interpreting. Then explain, why was he unscathed during the nine-tailed rampage and Shinra Tensei? This, Iwagakure. Inoki floated in mid-air, his whole body stiffened. Genjutsu covering the entire Konoha village. A person who can do this kind of thing. Inoki's voice trembled slightly. Could it be the divine art mentioned by the sky screen before? If he really knows this level of genjutsu, then why did he open a ramen shop in Konoha for decades? The sky screen suddenly dimmed, and then a new title slowly appeared. Let's discuss in detail why the Uchiha were massacred. The entire shinobi world was stunned. Didn't we already talk about this? The reason the Uchiha were massacred on the surface appears to be because of a coup, but that was just the fuse. The real reason starts with the second Hokage, Tobirama. From the decision the second Hokage made to assign the Uchiha to the military police force, one could see that the massacre was already destined. Iwagakure. Inoki floated in mid-air, arms crossed, the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. Tobirama. As an old veteran who had dealt with Tobirama, Inoki knew this man all too well. He's been dead for so many years, yet he can still scheme against the Uchiha. The sky screen lit up. When the first Hokage, Hashirama, was alive, he used his personal prestige and strength to suppress the conflicts within the village. But after the second Hokage took office, the situation changed completely. In the image, Hashirama and Uchiha stood side by side on the Hokage rock, overlooking the village below. The sun shone brightly, and all things grew. That was the most peaceful era of Konoha, because Hashirama was too strong. So strong that all conflicts were suppressed by his personal charisma. The Uchiha were dissatisfied. Other clans had complaints. Someone wanted to seize power. None of these things existed. Konoha villager A. The first Hokage truly had a grand vision, but the problem is, after he died, no one could suppress things anymore. The image switched. After Hashirama passed away, Tobirama succeeded him as the second Hokage. Unlike his older brother Hashirama's gentle nature, Tobirama's expression was always as cold as ice. The second Hokage's attitude toward the Uchiha, in his own words, was he believed that the awakening of the Uchiha Sharingan required extreme emotions, which made them prone to going to extremes. A clan that was too strong and emotionally unstable was the greatest hidden danger to Konoha. Hashirama, little brother, don't be like this. Let's talk things out properly. Tobirama, big brother, shut up. It was your soft-heartedness back then that left behind so many future troubles. Uchiha Suna. Tobirama, damn you. Under the sky screen, everyone nodded one after another. Judging from the previous content on the sky screen, the second Hokage's judgment was indeed terrifyingly accurate. Uchiha Obito turned to darkness simply because his beloved died, launching the nine-tailed attack on Konoha and causing the death of the fourth Hokage. Uchiha Itachi, in order to prevent a coup, personally massacred the entire Uchiha clan. Uchiha Sasuke, for the sake of revenge, did not hesitate to defect to Orochimaru. Shikamaru, when you put it that way, the probability of the Uchiha clan having problems is just too high. Choji, the second Hokage's judgment is truly terrifying. Haiden, look, this is your Konoha's Hokage. He's so ruthless even to his own people. Kakuzu, I'm not from Konoha, and shut up. You don't even understand which village I'm from. so stop trying to analyze politics. The sky screen text continued. So the second Hokage made a decision. Establish the Konoha military police force and have it staffed entirely by the Uchiha. On the surface, this was a promotion of the Uchiha. The Uchiha military police force was responsible for Konoha's public security, interrogations, and arrests, holding significant power. But think carefully about what this position entails. All of Konoha's public security problems ultimately pointed the finger at the Uchiha. Villagers get fined, blame the Uchiha. Villagers get interrogated, also blame the Uchiha. Villagers get arrested, still blame the Uchiha. Over time, the resentment of the entire Konoha toward the Uchiha grew deeper and deeper. This was the second Hokage's trap, making the Uchiha the public enemy of the entire village. Under the sky screen, the entire shinobi world gasped. Subsequently, voices appeared all over the ninja world. What a maneuver! Tobirama, that old geezer, is truly sinister, giving the Uchiha power and letting them enforce the law. On the surface, it's trust, but in reality, it's making the whole village hate them. Once the conflict accumulates to a certain point, find an excuse to wipe them all out. This is a damn open conspiracy. And more importantly, the military police force fixed the Uchiha in a single functional department. They couldn't be dispersed into various departments and battlefronts like other clans. Instead, they were concentrated in the single system of the military police force. On the surface, it was holding power. In reality, it was being isolated. In the image, the scene of a Konoha military meeting. The heads of various clans gathered to discuss the village's future strategic deployment. The Sarutobi clan, Nara clan, Yamanaka clan, Akimichi clan, Inazuka clan, Aburame clan. Representatives of each clan sat scattered around the conference table, chatting and laughing, exchanging intelligence from their respective departments, while the Uchiha representative sat alone at the very end of the conference table. 2 seats around him were empty. No one was willing to sit next to him. It wasn't that the Uchiha didn't want to participate in discussions with other departments. It was that he could only talk about matters concerning the military police force, because his scope of responsibility was only the military police force. Compared to the Uchiha, the Hyuga clan was more suitable for the position of the military police force. The Hyuga clan's Byakugan is equally powerful. In terms of reconnaissance and law enforcement capability, the Byakugan is even more suitable than the Sharingan. X-ray vision, 360-degree field of vision, chakra point attacks. It could be said that the Hyuga were naturally cut out to be law enforcers. But Konoha didn't let the Hyuga be the military police force. Why? Because if the Hyuga were made the military police force, they too would be isolated. And Konoha needed the Hyuga. The Hyuga had more roles to play. In the image, in the territory of the Hyuga clan, members of the Hyuga clan were scattered across various departments in Konoha. Some were in the Umbu, responsible for reconnaissance missions. Some were in the hospital, assisting with chakra diagnosis. Some were serving as taijutsu instructors at the ninja academy. Some were serving as sensory-type ninja in frontline units. The Hyuga clansmen were spread throughout every corner of Konoha, having intricate connections with other clans. No one ostracized the Hyuga, because the Hyuga had already integrated into every blood vessel of Konoha. Beneath the sky screen, the members of the Hyuga clan saw the content on the sky screen. Their expressions varied. The main branch members were somewhat arrogant. These were all their achievements. That group of branch house members just needed to execute orders. There was so much more for the main branch to consider. As for the branch house members of the Hyuga clan, their expressions were complex. Because of the cage bird seal and the system of main branch and branch house, they could only obey the main branch. In their work, if they weren't noticed, it was fine, but if the main branch spoke up, they had to comply. Was their way of living really better than the free Uchiha? The text on the sky screen shifted. The nine-tailed incident was the final straw that crushed the Uchiha. The scene switched. In the nine-tailed giant pupils, there was the pattern of a Sharingan. Consequently, The Konoha higher-ups directly suspected the Uchiha were responsible. Beneath the sky screen, everyone's mouth twitched collectively. It actually was the Uchiha who did it. A certain Konoha Jonin. So, Second Hokage-sama was too merciful back then. He didn't wipe out the Uchiha directly, and as a result, that scum Uchiha Bito appeared later. Uchiha Setsuna. Senju Tobarama isn't worthy. Could he even defeat our Uchiha clan to want to wipe us out? Senju Tobarama. The text continued. Afterward, the Konoha higher-ups made a decision to move the Uchiha residential district from the center of the village to the furthest corner of the village. In the scene, the Uchiha compound, daytime. The clansmen were packing their luggage. The children didn't understand why they had to move. They only knew the adults said they were moving to a new place. The scene zoomed out. The original Uchiha compound was located in the core area of Konoha, less than 10 minutes away from the Hokage office. The new Uchiha compound was at the very edge of Konoha, backed by a desolate forest. There were no shops, no schools, no hospitals around. Only a circle of high walls and a few hidden sentries. The Uchiha went from being the founders of the village to objects of surveillance. They were kicked from the core circle of the village to the very edge. And then, the Uchiha embarked on that path of no return. Beneath the sky screen, a silence fell. Konoha village. Those in the Uchiha compound who had experienced this event silently activated their Sharingan. They would remember forever. They remembered that on the day the Uchiha moved away, the entire street became empty. They remembered those Uchiha children holding their toys, queuing up to walk out of the center of the village. But no one stood up to speak for them. After all, there was a Sharingan in the Nine-Tailed eyes. After all, they were responsible for law enforcement and hadn't offended few people in the past. After all, this was the decision of the Hokage. Beneath the sky screen, everyone sighed. To be honest, if the Uchiha had been willing to bow their heads, they wouldn't have ended up in that situation. Why does it feel like the Uchiha were actually quite innocent looking at it like this? Innocent, but wouldn't be afraid with a group of lunatics next door who could awaken the Mangekyo at any moment. Konoha village. Uchiha Sasuke stood behind the crowd, watching the sky screen with a calm face. However, deep down, he was extremely displeased with Senju Tobarama, the mastermind behind the scenes. Damn Senju Tobarama, the naturally evil Senju old ghost. If I were to meet you, I would personally, thinking that Senju Tobarama was already dead and that Senju Tobarama's strength was not something he could deal with right now, Sasuke's mind instantly cleared. Damn it, I'm still not strong enough. Ranking the concept-level phantom gods of the ninja world, the entire ninja world was stunned. Phantom gods? This was the first time they had heard this term. It sounded like some kind of existence that transcended common sense. The text on the sky screen flickered, and the first headline appeared. 1. Early Love Naruto, based on current information on Boruto. Boruto's strength in his youth has already surpassed Naruto in his prime, reaching the 6 paths level. The entire ninja world was shocked. 6 paths level? 6 paths sage. Naruto's son could actually reach that level? The text on the sky screen continued to scroll. If Naruto had given birth to Boruto with Hinata early on, the ninja world would have welcomed the strongest phantom god. The sky screen lit up. A young man stood atop ruins. Blonde hair and blue eyes, with a face 70% similar to Naruto, but his aura was completely different. His body exuded an aura far surpassing the nine-tailed chakra mode, and his overall demeanor was calm and aloof. Just standing there made people feel he was terrifyingly strong. The entire ninja world. The text on the sky screen changed again. A young Boruto is equivalent to unpretentious Sasuke plus darkened Naruto plus determined Obito plus family man Minato beneath the sky screen. It instantly exploded in chaos. Konoha village. Uchiha Sasuke's brows furrowed slightly. What does this mean? When was I pretentious? The people beneath the sky screen were also confused. What does it mean? Is it equivalent to the combined strength of these 4 people matching this Boruto? Or is it saying This Boruto possesses the traits of these 4 people simultaneously. The text on the sky screen flickered. Simply put, a Boruto born from early love could solo the entire ninja world. The entire ninja world fell silent for 3 seconds. Then everyone collectively looked at Naruto. Naruto, so you mean as long as I get married and have kids early, I can give birth to a son who can solo the entire ninja world? Uzumaki Naruto, this is too ridiculous. Kuga Hinate, na, Naruto-kun. Sakura Haruno, Inada, don't faint. Ino Yamanaka, she's not fainting, she's shy. Iwagakure, Inoki floated in midair, his whole body frozen. 6 paths level. He had lived a lifetime and had seen countless powerful people. But an existence at the 6 paths level only existed in legends within his cognition. If that child really exists, then the so-called Kage are nothing more than high-level ninja in front of him. The text on the sky screen slowly disappeared. The first phantom god concluded. The gaze of the entire ninja world refocused on the sky screen. The second headline appeared. 2. Thick-skinned Tsukumo Konoha village. Kakashi Itachi's body trembled slightly. The text on the sky screen slowly scrolled. Actually, Tsukumo Hitachi's strength was extremely high. He could rival or even surpass the Sannin of Konoha. But he chose to commit suicide because of the accusations of the Konoha villagers. But what if Tsukumo was thick-skinned? The entire ninja world. Then I, the white fang of Konoha, don't care about this or that. I'll just do whatever I want. The scene appeared. It was Tsukumo returning to Konoha village again. He was accused by the villagers again. But this time, Tsukumo's style was completely different. He stood in the middle of the street, ignoring the villagers' accusations directly. If you're so capable, you do it. Villagers. Kakashi Hitaki. My guy Kakashi. This. Kakashi Hitaki. Guy. Let me be quiet for a while. The text on the sky screen continued to scroll. Then, if he passed on the thick skin to Kakashi, then Kakashi would never be a bachelor for his whole life. The bloodline of the Hitaki family could also be passed down. Kakashi's body stiffened abruptly. A bachelor for my whole life. The text on the sky screen flickered, and new text appeared. 3. Koto Amitsukami Sakura.